Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Rankdown podcast's end of season recap for Survivor 49. I'm your host for the hour or two, Mike from Survivor Rankdown 6, and we are here to recap one of the seasons of all time for sure.
Worst is the word you're looking for. I'm Kyle.
Not
I've
that
been a
bad.
lot of these, but not a Rankdown. So
I am Tipara. I was in the very first Rankdown, but I have not done this whole podcast thing before.
Long time coming.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
And I'm Lights from Survivor Rankdown 3, and I might not hate this season. It wasn't that bad.
Hate it. It's not good. It's like
Someone but high off God.
yeah, but that's one
Yeah.
sentence, and it's a 14-hour season. So
Yeah, but it's a banger sentence.
Yeah, I did.
yeah,
Not
I'm sure you
necessarily
could find a
care
great sentence in one world. I don't know.
Not necessarily care for the season, but it's still innately fun to discuss any season of Survivor. So there's that.
Yeah.
Except Ghost Island.
No, I love shitting on Ghost Island, man.
You're talking to the person who's probably written more words about Ghost Island than like anyone else. I don't know.
To be fair, that could be like 25 words, and I think you would have that.
Probably
I
also
think,
true.
I think you've been beat by the person who transcribes this stuff for like closed captioning.
That's also probably true.
Anyways, we may have possibly tonight been joined by a friend of ours who I won't name, who I do know likes this season, and I was like, "Yo, you should join. We could welcome a positive voice on." And this person was like, "Nah, I'm off an edible." And you
I
know
will
what this
say-
season deserves? You know what this season deserves? Me taking an edible right now.
It is how Sage prepped for the season, to be fair.
I will say
And
the
she-
person who likes this season also says it's like their 30th favorite. They just love the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's still that's still a good positive energy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I would love to get started with positive energy, but I think we are going to be ranking this. We are going to be going in the order of our reverse rankings, so we are going to be starting off with our most negative takes.
Yes.
Yeah, that will be.
So it'll get
I think
more
it'll take a
positive
while.
eventually. It'll eventually get more positive.
So if you do want positive takes, skip to about 75% of the way through this episode.
There's
But
going to
if you
be maybe two people I'm going to be being particularly positive about.
So, we got any introductory thoughts?
Well,
can we never have another disaster tribe ever again? That's my
Yeah.
main takeaway.
that
It's fun on Palau. It's great on Palau. It's great on Philippines. It's pretty good on 41. Diminishing returns since then. It's
great on 45.
like
it's not. I think it's completely played out at that point.
Chill on
it's
Lulu.
the issue with the
They're better
disaster
than
tribe-
everyone after it, and the 44 one. But it is like
Oh yeah.
Okay,
like
just to explain the take though, the issue with the disaster tribe isn't the disaster tribe itself, it's how it affects the other two tribes. Because we us experienced Survivor viewers, we knew from the beginning, even regardless of any spoilers from 50, that the yellow tribe had no shot at being relevant. Like, they were not developed in a way that mattered.
yeah.
I don't mind the disaster tribe thing innately. That is definitely true, but I don't mind the disaster tribe thing innately. I mind that it's happened so much that it becomes formulaic to where it becomes worse in any instance in isolation. Because I think a lot of the individual cases, I like it in 45, I really like it in 46, but just like then it happens in like 48, it happens here, so it doesn't really go against the perception people have that a lot of these seasons start to blur together if you have a fundamentally similar narrative structure like that right out of the gates over and over.
Exactly.
And
And
that's-
I think it is.
I feel
because-
like if Blue loses one last time, we get more Yellow Sophie content early on.
Which is
Yeah.
probably good because
Mhm.
I didn't
And
like her that much, but I think that she's clearly one of the better casting choices out there.
Yeah.
I don't think
And
they really capitalize on that, but they could have.
Yeah. And obviously, like, the whole disaster tribe, like, I don't think you cast the disaster tribe and stick Jake on it. That's not on purpose. That's entirely to do with the fire making thing, and just losing the first challenge, like, snowballs so hard.
Yeah, it is just
Not having Flint is the killer.
Like, I can see how they have cast disaster tribes in the past, like, in 48 is pretty blatant, I think. But, like, I think one of the most blatant ones is China, which is so long ago, and no, not really relevant anymore, but
well, I don't know if you've heard this with China. Isn't it it was an experiment with casting where they put the 4 most athletic and 4 least athletic people on one tribe and then everybody in the middle on the other tribe. Which turns out they just need to win one challenge that gets out the people who suck and the people who are good keep playing. But
Yeah, I forgot
yeah.
about that. I haven't heard it in forever. I forgot that lore.
it lines up pretty well because you can just look and be like,
Mhm.
all right, well, Denise, Todd, Courtney, and Leslie are the 4 weakest, and the 4 strongest would be like James, Amanda, Aaron, and Jean Robert.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can start moving on. Like, that's like how the season starts, and obviously, the season is completely in the shadow of 50. And I don't know if all of I know Mike and Kyle were definitely knew what the spoilers were. I don't know, Tipara, if
Yeah, I
you
was.
were
Mhm.
well versed. So just to make things
Well,
clear, the spoilers for this season were, well, Who's on 50, which everyone should know at this point is Savannah and Rizzo,
mhm.
who all made the finale at least. And also there was a spoiler regarding that sign that everyone signs at the end of the season that they
Yeah.
very briefly cut to at the end of the reunion show thing they do. And like they mentioned, and Rizzo like explicitly mentions like he's gonna sign it next to so and so. So I feel like that was like vaguely, I don't even know, but it could have been a reference to the spoilers that they knew about it. I'm not sure, but
I think it
there
probably
Yeah.
was, to be honest.
Maybe.
there was a known final alliance, which ended up being, but that was what everyone thought the final three would be, as
Yeah.
Rizzo, Savannah, Sophie.
Mhm.
And it was
Now,
also, of course, only signed by the jurors, so everybody knew who was going in the pre-jury.
exactly. Now here's the
Mhm.
thing. The spoiled final 3, since basically the day they got back, was
Did
Savannah,
include
Rizzo,
Rizzo.
Sophie B. Huh?
Yeah, it did include Rizzo, which may not have been true.
Mhm. And all I will say, without naming any names, I was told by a source I know for a fact is reliable that one of those 3 was not in the final 3. And for months, I thought I was being fucked with. I was not.
Yeah, I
And
Mi-
think.
Mike's
when you
the
told me
insider.
this, Mike told me this, and my first thought was, I bet it's fucking Sage is there instead. And I'll take
Yeah.
credit for that one.
Yeah, as far as how that like affects the season and its reception, because I do that is kind of a big talking point in the fandom right now. Is like, would the season be better if we didn't know who was on 50? I don't think it's as big a deal as a lot of people say, because like Philippines, we knew at the time that Malcolm was on Caramoan, which also meant we knew for sure he didn't win, and like everyone still loved that season when it aired. Or for like bigger spoilers than that, like when Heroes vs Villains was airing, you could not go anywhere remotely Survivor related online without seeing a full boot list, and like obviously Philippines and Heroes vs Villains are still very well liked seasons. So I don't think it's like if you have good content and the episodes are interesting, I don't think it really matters how spoiled it is. So like I'm sure that didn't
Exactly.
help its reception, but I don't think it's that big of a deal because if they had like
Mhm.
if there was a much stronger set of characters and narratives than what we got, it wouldn't matter that much.
I
Exactly.
agreed.
And the spoiled winner,
It's probably the
clearly the best one there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think there we'll get into it later, but I think there is one argument, and it's not a character that made it particularly far.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the more casual fans, people who aren't in the community, are going to be pretty surprised by who the other person that's going to be very high on this is.
hmm
To be honest, I don't want to spoil it.
But do we think
Though in the spirit of
casual
49, I should spoil it.
do we think it's it's Alex, by the way. Do we think casual Survivor viewers are going to be listening to this? Do we think Survivor super fans are going to be listening to this?
Yeah, you never know
Well,
who watches things.
Mike, you have lots
Huh?
of friends.
If you're listening to this and you identify as a casual Survivor viewer, let us know, I guess.
And join the
Yeah.
Discord. It's linked somewhere down below.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
in and say I am a casual viewer.
And before we get into this is mainly a discussion of the cast on the show. So,
This
if
is not
anyone,
personal.
this
I'm
is,
sure
yeah,
they're all great people.
I can confirm there are some people on the season I did not like on the show. I've met them in real life, and they are very nice.
This is, if I don't like someone on the show, I assume it's mostly the fault of the editors of the season and not the fault of the people.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I do want to say, I do doubt anyone from this season is listening to this podcast, but I'll get into that story
It's not true.
a little
That's
later.
not true.
There is someone
Nicole's
who
a friend of
might
the
have.
show.
There's
Nicole's a friend of the show.
Valid.
Bobby from
Yeah.
Rankdown 9 is like vaguely friends with Nicole, so
I think they met at work. Like they were coworkers for a short period of time or something. if
yeah, I think
remember
friends is a
correctly.
stretch. I think they're acquaintances that were like positive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they worked in the same building or like at the same company. I'm not gonna speak for
They
Bobby, but
they know who each other are.
But yeah, agreeing with what Kyle said, if a character on the show, a contestant on the show, like viewed through the lens of being a character doesn't land with me, like very much a very high percentage of the time, my perception is that's because like they were probably out there doing interesting and entertaining things to some extent, and the show did not capitalize on that when turning their experience into entertainment. Like it's the fault of, generally speaking, the direction the show chose to take or not take.
if you've ever watched a secret scene or like a recap episode when they used to do those like a decade ago, there's so much that is cut on the cutting room floor that it's like like there's so much decent like fun content, but they decide it's not like story relevant or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think this is a good segue in because again, the person ranked the person ranked last on this cast, I have no doubt is a very, very nice person. But oh good lord. So getting us started at number 18, we have Steven.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on this character are somewhat like I would say a garbage dump combined with
A kangaroo
like
in
a
space.
kangaroo in space. So like this kangaroo in space likes throwing garbage around because I'm just trying to force some kind of analogy here. But
It's what Steven would want to force a metaphor that doesn't really work.
Yeah,
like
right. I
I
need to think of some planet to make a comparison to here. Or something.
Steven is very, very much alive and will be, I'm assuming, for quite some time. And he is already
Huh?
decades prematurely rolling in his grave at those
Oh.
comments.
Yeah,
Um,
I
didn't
don't
I'll just
Yes,
start off
the
here
number
'cause I
one
think I'm
Steven fan.
Yeah, I might be the number one Steven fan here because I genuinely was really fine with Steven for a lot of the season. I think as a casting choice, I don't think he's bad. He clearly knows how to talk to the camera. He's like a nice guy, and I feel like he's always someone who's going to become a social threat. So there's probably going to usually be like camp life, little interactions with him. But just like it's maybe a symptom of the lack of storytelling with the Yellow Tribe. Like there's just no real narrative to his time on the show at all. He's one of those characters that like they feature him, but there's no real direction or purpose to it. And then it did go off the rails for me in like his last two episodes where it's like 20 minutes straight of him running around outside and then an entire episode focused on like how will advantages get played. Like that is what sunk him as a character for me.
So
Yeah.
let's so our issues with journeys, I'm sure as we'll get into over the course of any podcast we do with regarding New Era. But that is anyone who went on that journey would have been annoying for 20 minutes. Like that's not
Yeah,
the issue
it is
here.
just like 20 minutes of filler time
It
that could be
that would
spent
have
on
happened
anything
if
else. I would rather
if
20 minutes of Steven doing anything other than Steven doing a journey for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Rizzo or Savannah or whoever or I
Yeah.
don't know who insert your favorite
Fucking Richard
character.
Hatch could go on a journey and it wouldn't be all that interesting.
Yeah. So how Steven starts is really so he starts by making space. He constantly makes space analogies because oh my god, he's a rocket scientist. But the
Yeah.
second main running arc with Steven is I was 4'11" in high school. I grew up bullied. I have imposter syndrome, which, not to make light of those things,
You're
it's
35.
but it's also really hard to translate to TV. It's not a story that translates at all, and I can't think of a great example of it because it's so internal.
Yeah, I also think anxiety is obviously a very real thing that a lot of people struggle with. But I think because it is a thing that so many people do struggle with, it's just not particularly compelling when it's like I have anxiety on the show because it just isn't it doesn't feel like unique enough for me to get super invested in it. Though, like obviously on a human level, I'd be like, you know,
I think
I
it's
feel for
also
a person, but as a viewer of the show, it's like, okay, and then what? You know?
Yeah, I think it's another one of those things too that just like has become somewhat played out in the new era because like the way that the Steven backstory just now is like being described, like there's multiple other characters that would all have like very similarly described backstory packages.
Probably like multiple characters like that every season, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, like,
the I was bullied in high school is one of the most overused tropes. It's like, I don't know what's true. Like, I'm sure everyone has different experiences of high school, but like, I don't think about high school that often outside of like a few select people who I had particularly positive or negative memories of, who, like, I don't know, I follow on social media or whatever. It's like, I am like I'm a decade closer to high school than Steven is. So it's like, why is like, and this has been true
I'm
for
sure it's the
characters in the
producers
past.
prompting them because everyone talks about it, but still, it's like,
Sure, but it's so like, does someone in production have a fetish for high school or something?
for sure. They need to do. I've been watching King of the Hill. There's this really good joke where Hank is like, "Kids can be so cruel. Believe me, I know." And it cuts to him in high school, and he's like, "Hey, fatty, look who's fat." Like he was a bully instead of being bullied. They should do that for Survivor. Just get a guy like, I remember high school. I was so mean to everybody all the time.
I hope that's what we
be
get, Jonathan Young 2.0.
That is John. Yeah, that's just Jonathan. Fair
I was
enough.
thinking Jonathan.
But
Yeah.
I think the main reason I don't like Steven as a Survivor character is because a big thing about this season for me has been burnout of the new era and all of its tropes. And I
Yeah,
feel
for
like
sure.
all of that is just
It
shown
really feels
so
like the
much
ninth
through
season like
Steven.
that.
Mm-hmm. It's just like every problem I have with how the show is now.
Yeah, I'm generally
He's kind of guilty.
Yeah, I'm generally higher on the new era than like a number of other like old school type of fans, but like this season is one of like the two where I've really just felt like a lot of the most common new era criticisms were very prominent for me from very early on, like feeling like the like overly kumbaya formulaic corporate retreat kind of vibe. And yeah, just going back to something Kyle said this is like a minute ago, but mentioned how in relation to Steven's backstory, it was probably prompted by the producers. I want to say that's also totally, I'm sure, the case with a lot of like the analogies. Like I think that there's at least a decent chance like Steven the human being didn't go out there and think I can't wait to like mention outer space every chance I get on Survivor, but like that's what they asked them to do. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Jeff literally prompted me on the episode a couple times.
I do want to
Yeah.
put a counter to that though. There is no way they asked him to make it kangaroo analogy he didn't have, and he goes out of his way to list space facts. And Jeff tells him to stop making space facts. I'm going to get on with the challenge.
That is fair. Although in the space facts thing, I could be wrong. Didn't someone? I want to say Savannah or Sage asked him to do that. I could be wrong.
Yes,
I think someone did.
Savannah.
I can't claim that.
But that means he was doing it before. But
yeah. I didn't even mind that scene because, like, I don't know, people killing time during the challenge. Like, how do human beings react to being in this very monotonous chat?
I think we should stop talking because I think something just died. Okay, so yes, I agree that like he was prompted at times, but if he was prompted to say space facts, he was saying space facts.
True. I guess I don't even mind. I don't mind that scene as much because it's like psychologically seeing how different people respond to something monotonous like a challenge, that like an endurance challenge. Like that's just gonna be fun and interesting to me. Like, what do these? You know, it's different than any other specific way that people have killed time during a challenge. So that scene I didn't mind much, but I don't know.
Christian on David versus Goliath. did the
Yeah,
same
I
thing.
thought.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I thought
different, it's reflecting a different interest. Plus, that's one of the
Yeah,
reasons
fair
I
enough.
mentioned their
I
interest.
liked Christians, so I don't take
Me
as much.
too.
Agreed, I don't take as much fault with this one, but it is funny because it is just the same
Yeah.
thing. I guess we
It
can.
just feels so Reddit-ified.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
there
what
is one funny thing that Steven said that I want to point out, where he talks about where he had to kill something, and my roommate's dog
That
dot,
was pretty funny.
got a hold
Yeah.
of a rat.
He accidentally says that he had to kill his roommate's dog. My issue with Steven, I think, is different from a lot of your guys. Is just that every season now they have a guy that comes in like 9th to 5th place, and it's just strategy guy who talks about strategy, and that's it.
Yeah,
And Steven is just strategy guy that talks about strategy, and that's it. I didn't.
yeah, that's
Strategy of the game doesn't interest me all that much.
Yeah.
When I want to watch a game for strategy, I'll watch Big Brother because I think Big Brother has a lot more interesting gameplay to go on because it's more complicated.
Yeah,
I don't
like
think that's really the appeal of
so,
Survivor for me.
yeah.
I'm big.
And Steven being that guy makes it so that it's like, okay, now I
Yeah,
just, he talks about voting or whatever,
Yeah,
and
it's
I just
similar to
completely
what
check out.
Yeah, it's similar to what I meant at the start, where like there's not a lot of direction or narrative to him. That's kind of a similar sort of thing. And like, yeah, like the strategy stuff like that is also not the draw for me. For me, it's like if I were gonna get interested in something strategically, I'd get interested in like Big Brother, you could say this for, or like chess, where you can actually see the entire game. Survivor, we're seeing a fraction of a percent of it. So what I want to see is like that the process of filtering the raw footage down into a narrative. I want that narrative to be purposeful and interesting. Whereas like I don't really care about the strategy side of like are people playing well because I don't have access to that information anyway. I can't
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I do
sure,
think.
like if you think about the best seasons, don't necessarily have the best strategic players. Like, is
No, I
One
mean,
World a
like,
good season? Because when you have a great strategic player, it can really, really just kill the narrative of a season. Like Redemption Island, where it's just a Boston Rob show, and that's how they're
which
presenting
is
it,
good, which is
regardless,
awesome.
regardless of how
All
you
right,
feel.
slow down.
Let's not get too deep into the weeds about other seasons, but this does get into the point of strategy. Is
Yeah,
just
strategy isn't inherently interesting. I think you could make interesting things out of it. I think Vesepia is somebody who is made interesting through her strategy, but I don't think
Yeah.
strategy is inherently going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
like
And Steven
in
is
certain.
a guy they use to stitch together scenes and explain
Mhm.
what's going on to the viewers, which is just leaves a character that feels very aimless and kind of dull.
And they've done, like, the narrator who doesn't do much has been a character in the past, but like that, and that can work if you like the narrator. But I think for all of us here, we don't really like the narrator here, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something else that I did mind with Steven's content in the space fact scene. Part of what I didn't like about it as a scene, like if it's just the guy rattling off space facts, sure, that can be funny. But like they blared like the over the top challenge music they do in a lot of these newer seasons over it to make it
Oh
this like
God, yeah, you couldn't even hear him.
thing. Yeah, I couldn't even hear the space facts. Like they were blaring music over it, and tonally, it's taking what should be like a funny, quirky scene and making it like intense challenge moment, and it just doesn't fit. And in isolation, that kind of kills that scene for me, but isn't a huge enough deal to mention here. But that's one of two times where there was something like that, because there was another Steven scene that I thought could have been really good, but they didn't execute it well. Where like he was talking about how like he killed the chicken and now he feels really guilty and like feels like the chickens are looking at him. And to me, that could actually be like that could be like a dark scene. That could be like psychologically interesting. How is this person reckoning with the morals of what they've done in this
Yeah.
environment? Be psychologically interesting, but they did all these like goofy like horror movie music things and like close-up shots of the chickens looking at the camera to make it like a comic relief scene, and it was just weird. It's like you've got this guy delivering interesting content about like the ethics of living on Survivor, and you're making it like a haha funny comic relief scene, which like so that's another one of those scenes with Steven for me. Where it could have been good, but they just didn't go the right direction with it.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
also, it's just
I
like
understand.
a lot of like the final word stuff very much like gave off the
So
oh
the final words, what were they?
I overcame my imposter syndrome, so I
Oh
really
yes,
feel
yes.
like I won. And it feels like
It's like I'm happy for him.
would you rather Reddit like you, or would you rather be a millionaire?
And like
Yeah.
the overemphasis in a lot of the newer seasons of like it's like I won because I got personally fulfilling thing out of it. For that human being, that's great. I'm glad that Steven can like talk to his partner for years about how fulfilling it was to like go down the beach and overcome imposter syndrome. But if when we're watching the show, it undercuts the importance of the $1 million prize and therefore the contest around which the entire show is based.
Okay, so
Yeah.
$1 million, still a lot of
yeah,
money.
yeah,
$1 million
it's
is
like, and
massive.
also, it's not like imposter syndrome was ever, it never felt like an issue for Steven on the island. Like, I'm sure he was feeling it internally, but between the first episode and the journey, it was never brought up, like, really in truly, he was like good socially, he was a social threat, he had his number one allies, which were sometimes brought out of nowhere, which is another issue with the characters. But
I
it
feel like
was
that's an issue
not.
with every character on this season, though. It's just like,
But
oh, they're working together. Okay.
yeah, it's like
Yeah, I
it,
agree. Yeah, yeah. I'm
and
sure it was.
also
But I agree. Yeah, I think you're
yeah,
right.
there
Steven,
there are some issues with Steven that are also relevant for some of our next characters as well. And
oh yeah,
also, I do want to point out as like, so we're not like purposely harping on Steven. He is just the first character we're discussing. And I also want to
Yeah.
say the space facts. I thought they were pretty. I wish they were more interesting space facts. As someone who knew these space facts, like these are pretty like generic. Like any like science, like anyone who's like recently done anything in like science class about space, this feels like the kind of thing you could have just Googled real quick.
well, he had to start. I'm sure he was doing this for a while. He had to start
So
somewhere.
if Steven ever hears this, he's got to give us the most like obscure fact about the rings of Saturn that he knows, or something like blow our mind with like a wildly
Oh,
obscure one. Or
They were pretty.
Something
Unfortunately,
we would not know.
as someone as a science person, like I don't think like these were not like unknown space facts to me.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said about how like the imposter syndrome thing. I'm sure it was very psychologically real for him, so I'm not devaluing that on a personal level. But narratively, like we kind of heard it at the beginning, and then we didn't hear it for like 10 episodes or however long, and then it comes up again. So like it's abrupt in its execution, and it never interweaves with the social politics of the game. Like we didn't really see Steven like, oh, I'm voting out this person that I care about, and that's hard because my imposter syndrome. I feel like I don't deserve to outlast them. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, I
it
think
doesn't
that would be really interesting to hear someone say something like
like,
that.
and like the counter that someone might make to that is, well, maybe he didn't talk about that on the island, but the producers are asking them questions in the confessionals, like their interviews. So like, when Steven votes someone out, like instead of asking him, hey, can you compare this to outer space? Be like, hey, Steven, like if you think you're going to build this emotional story around his imposter syndrome, like, hey, Steven, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you deserve to be in this position? Ask him something leading to get him to talk about that. Like they're capable of getting that content. It's kind of their job
the
to get that
imposter
kind of content.
syndrome. It is one of the more egregious storylines throughout the season, where it's something that people talk about a lot, but we never really see it. He mentions having imposter syndrome. I don't think there's a scene where he, like, I guess exhibits any symptoms of imposter syndrome. It's just a thing he talks about having. Which again, I mean, like, I am happy
think
for him. But
And in
Yeah.
episode one,
Right.
it really
Forgetting over
only
it,
had
but-
to. In
I
episode
think-
one, it only really had to do with paranoia that he didn't, didn't matter because he was wrong.
I think I think a lot of these issues with Steven should also be brought up with whoever's coming up next, because I imagine I can guess who it is.
Yeah.
Oh, we finally ready to move on?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to number 17, we have Alec.
Yeah, remember how I said that a lot of these new era seasons have like a strategy guy that comes in 10th through 5th place? Alex is also that guy. He's the
Remember
same.
when I said he was the second best character of the season? No,
He's not.
So-
no.
So where does Alex work again?
I was wondering who's
I
going to
don't
be the
know.
one to go that direction.
He might work on.
I don't remember.
He
I don't
might
think he
work
talked about it.
Shit. I don't know.
I think
He's
it
a
might be
news reporter now.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's probably it.
No, he
No,
was
he
the
might. I think he's a
intelligence
lawyer.
analyst.
I think he's a lawyer.
He works on
That's
some type of
probably
like mountain or otherwise raised surface. I don't know. Something that's not quite a hill, but like similar to that. I don't know.
Maybe.
There might be some like marbly white buildings there.
Yeah.
No, Alex is I think not interesting as a viewer, But I think the way that they fail his character is interesting because he feels like somebody who is set up to matter. I feel this way about a couple people in the season actually. He feels like somebody who is set up to matter and be important, but that's just demonstrably not true. The more you watch into the season, I think those first 3 or so episodes, Alex is like definitively the main character of the show, and then he really never gets to be all that present ever again.
It's
Which
the
is
curse of the disaster tribe, right? Like
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's the same
they
thing. I would say the
have
same thing
to
about like Mary from last season.
they
Or
have to tell the disaster tribe
Yes.
story through someone, right?
Mhm.
And
If only they
they
had
Sophie.
somebody on that tribe that came in second.
Ugh.
and like I think Sophie is like the second, maybe Jake's also there, and we'll get to Jake when we get to Jake because I'm
Becomes a
sure we'll
big
have
edit.
lots to say. And
Yeah, well, let's say about Jake.
and I think the like Alex is not interesting after Kella, but I think the one interesting thing about Alex is the whole take me seriously masculinity thing, and also the killing chicken thing, which I think are very interrelated. That is
Yeah.
probably the most interesting about Alex, because once we get to the merge, we get to, oh, Alex is in the middle. He has a connection with Sophie. He's trying to play the middle. His boot episode surrounds I'm playing the middle, but I'm playing the middle isn't inherently interesting when he never makes any. There's nothing that happens because he votes Nate out. He's not part of the MC boot, which is which is half the tribe goes to tribal council, and we'll get to those issues when we talk about MC.
Mm.
And
But there's another
and then,
issue. I think MC would be the right person to talk about.
and then he
There's
gets
another
voted,
problem with the season.
and then he gets voted out. So where does Alex playing the middle have an impact on the season other than this gets Alex voted out?
Yeah, it is. It is weird. It feels like they just they feel to keep you updated because he does get voted out for trying to play the middle, but they don't particularly care. I
Mhm.
checked while you were talking, and confessional accounts aren't everything. We literally talked about this before the podcast, but Alex gets 44 confessionals across the season, and 31 of them are in the first 4 episodes of the show,
Oh,
which is
goodness.
less than half of the episodes
Yeah.
he's actually in. So it is
Yeah,
pretty
like
you can just look at that and be like, they just stopped caring about him. They had the 3 Kelly episodes, and they checked in on him after Kelly, and then they stopped caring. It's
I was
very unfortunate. I think that
They
there's
like
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean,
Barely-
more there than nothing.
they
Yeah, I
just
So
was
like
gonna
didn't even give him content about him and Sophie.
yeah,
Like
him and
at
Sophie
all.
Yeah.
never talk again after Kelly. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
no,
say
they have one check-in the merge episode, and then he realizes I don't want to go with the minority. I'm going to go with the majority, and then they're done.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I don't mind, like how I mentioned that I don't mind the disaster tribe thing in itself as much as a lot of viewers do. I just kind of mind the repetition of it. Alex definitely presents a case for just minding a disaster tribe in itself because, like, I don't even. There's ways that they could have made Alex a bit better, but like not a ton because fundamentally, like he's someone who just like kind of goes out in the middle of the season, isn't necessarily that big a part of how it plays out, but like they have to tell the story of those early episodes through someone. Kind of like Lights was, was saying. I agree with that. That's the direction I was kind of going to go in mentioning his character is like when his tribe is going to that tribe, when his tribe is going to tribal council over and over and over in those early episodes, it makes sense he's going to get a lot of focus. So like the point is just it forces focus on someone who you might not actually want to be introducing the viewer to that hard that early if there's not much purpose to it.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
if Alex was on Hina and he went out in the exact same spot, how many confessionals is he getting? I guess he
probably
could
like
get
half.
he could get
At
the Steven
most.
edit. So he could get the Steven edit, but
Yeah, I
But
mean, I guess
Steven
if Alex is on Hina, Steven's probably on Kelly.
Steven
So.
Steven
Yeah.
doesn't have like a huge edit to begin with.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think he just gets consistently like a solid amount of screen time every episode. I don't think he's ever
Mhm.
like he gets his one really big episode because he goes on Journey. Other than that, I don't think he's ever like
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Our issues with Steven are not omnipresence.
And kind of
no.
similar to Steven, the reason, we kind of joked at the start of talking about Alex, about like, oh, where does he work again? We just hear over and over and over from him in these early episodes, like, oh, I work on Capitol Hill. Like, and again, I'm sure that's prompted by the producers and he was asked to compare it to that or something, but like, it just feels like this very formulaic kind of thing of like, have contestants remind you of their job, even if it's not really relevant in a meaningful way to what they're talking about, which is kind of similar to like the space analogies with Steven. It's like instead of developing the character as like a complex entity, they're just being like, okay, space, or okay, Capitol Hill. That's this guy. He's strategy guy, but also Capitol Hill guy. And it's like it's not really telling you something about him, and it's not really relevant to everything, to anything. It's just, oh, I work on Capitol Hill, like over and over. So it's like, and again, I think that falls back on what are they prompting him to talk about in confessionals.
Let's say symptom of like capitalistic America, but like your job should not define who you are. And for some of these people, it feels like, at least on the show, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, y'all can hear me right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to the RHAP watch party of episode 3. There was an after party after. And when I got in a conversation with Alex, people around him were asking, like, repeatedly, did the show tell me you work on Capitol Hill?
That's really funny.
Yeah,
He's
Alex seems
good sport about it.
That's good, yeah. He seems like someone, like, I can totally see how he got cast on the show. Like, I don't think he's bad at, like, talking to the camera or anything. I'm sure that if I, like, met him in that type of setting, he'd be someone who's, like, lively, entertaining, clearly charismatic, but just, like, we didn't need as much of him as we got as early as we got, especially for what his role in the season ended up being.
And he's like, yes, like Alex, like this doesn't need to be a full discussion on this topic, but we use like this new era person of color diversity mandate has definitely helped in that regard, but it's definitely not helped in the regard of we've cast the black version of corporate millennial white guy, and we've cast the white version of that and the Asian version of that and the gay version of that. It's like, not to put that lightly, but like
I think it's
these
better than
people
them all
have
being white, for sure. But it is like,
yes, but it's a lack of diversity in a different direction. Like, and this is most represented when they're on the tribe. I think it's a tribe of like 7 people because it's when they go to 2 tribes. No one can think of themselves as killing the chicken. It's like in the past, you always had your like farmer guy who just wrings the neck of the chicken. And here it really shows the lack of diversity where no one's ever thought of doing it.
And going on the diversity point, this is a little divergent from Alex directly, but is very much about 49 and the topic of like diversity. Like, I'm very happy with like the racial diversity mandate that they have, and I think that at the start of the new era, like in 41 and 42, they were willing to like discuss it openly on the show and to give us narratives that were based on it, which I really appreciate, especially in 41. But this season, like, as has kind of come out in Exit Press, a lot of similar conversations about like how race within a diverse season can influence the ethics of the game. Like, those conversations were being had and they just didn't show it. Like, I love that the casts are diverse, but like, if you have great footage specifically based on that fact, then like, give us that. That'd be a much more interesting show.
I do think they may have hidden that because of the fact that it didn't come to anything, and that 4 black people got voted out in a row. To be fair, they made the jury, and it's like, it would paint the show in maybe a bad light if they like emphasized it, but you know your audience, they're gonna pick up on that kind of stuff. You're not
right. I also think more than painting the show in a bad light, it paints the endgamers, not especially, but specifically Savannah and Rizzo, who are coming back for the big season 50 returning season. Not like they don't have people on that season who are discussed as being racist on the fucking episodes, but you know,
cough, Jonathan.
Jonathan. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Jonathan Young is a racist person, but I'm saying in the show they literally say that Jonathan Young is a racist person, so it's a little. I don't know why they're so afraid to do that with Savannah and Rizzo.
Yeah.
Who I don't think.
Well, I don't think they are. I don't think these.
No, I don't think they are either. I'm not trying to say that. I just think it would be interesting to see the discussions being had.
Yeah, I think the show is just, I think it's a combination of things. I think, first of all, to the point about how it could make endgamers and or the boot order seem unpalatable to the viewer, I think they should just be more willing to do that and more willing to risk disappointing the viewer if it's in the service of telling a compelling story. And I
Mhm.
also just think that we'll get into this more. I'll certainly have something to say about this to get into it more with a character that I imagine we'll be talking about before too long. But I think that I think the show is more afraid to touch upon what could be perceived as like social issues of like wokeness or diversity or anything of that sort currently than was the case around the time of season 41, because this is not the only example of it in this season.
I
Yeah,
also think
yeah.
the specifically the Twitter fan base gets like exponentially more toxic every year somehow.
I
don't
think that
agree. I
They
think
I
it's the
they
don't
same.
and
I don't
they're
agree.
also leaning more and more into Survivor, trying to be for families. You
Yeah,
know,
well, that's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and no
And
family
people
or
don't.
child has ever been affected by an issue of race, so there's no reason for that to come up on a family show because that never
That's
affects
true.
families
Yeah.
or children.
Famously, you don't experience racism until you're a single adult.
Yeah, exactly. And until you're old enough to apply to be on Survivor, race just doesn't exist apparently. Like you can discuss those things in a show that's also targeted for like a family demographic or something.
guys, we
Yeah.
figured it out. We ended racism.
I
No,
did
that
not
happened
expect
when
to have this
Obama got
discussion.
elected. You need to rewatch One World.
I
You're
actually think
right.
no, I actually think that Survivor 49 ended racism by just not talking about race and not acknowledging it even when the conversations are being had. Which is
No,
Yeah.
they talked about the country of Albania.
they did
That's
do
true.
that.
They talk about Albania a good bit.
That's fair.
God. Anyways,
I
we
think we
ready
can move on to the next
we
person.
can I think this is a
Yeah.
very good opportunity to move on to, oh boy, we're gonna have
Hey.
a talk.
Shit, I thought she was gonna
Oh,
be higher.
looking at those rankings.
Mike got what he wanted.
Sure. She's a lot like, or she not a lot like. There are similarities to Shambo. Now I don't really like Shambo.
Yeah, I think Shambo is popular among the general fan base. I think. I don't know if
Yeah,
Shambo is
she's
I don't.
very
popular or just
Shambo's very
remembered.
I don't
Shambo's
know if
polarizing.
she's
So
remembered.
Sage.
I mean,
It's
like when you
been
talk about Samoa, people are like, "Oh yeah, Russell and Shambo."
Yeah, but
sure, yeah.
notwithstanding Shambo, yeah.
Who else are you gonna remember?
Uh, uh, uh,
Laura Moret because she
uh,
returns.
because she gets voted out by her daughter. Yeah.
That's true. That does happen.
Just to make sure I heard correctly, who is our third lowest above Alex?
Sage.
Okay,
Sage.
that's what I thought, but like one syllable name with a lot of S names that blurred together. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Shambo. I am not a big fan of Sage as a character, and this gives the chance to elaborate on what I just was talking about in relation to diversity. So just to get it out of the way, the reason that I'm not a fan of Sage as a character is that the amount of like bodily and gross out and toilet humor stuff from her is off the charts, and that really shows the show catering to children in like the worst way that I don't care for. But as a counter to that, and another example of how a lot of these issues with these characters come from how the producers execute their stories. The other example of how they're not focusing on these diverse narratives the way that they used to is like apparently there was a big conversation that Sage and Savannah had on like day one where Sage like came out to Savannah as like queer and as demisexual, and they talked about like what that means to Sage. And like that sounds like an awesome conversation, and Sage and Savannah should be like the emotional heart of the story. They have this back and forth feud, they make the end together. So like showing that on day one is how they got to know each other, but then like Sage gets left out of the alliance and feels a way about it. Like that would be awesome. And instead we got like 3 poop and pee jokes in the premiere. Like, why are we doing that instead? So I don't
Was
know.
that in a was that in Exit Press? I haven't listened
I
to.
think
So
that's an Exit Press thing. Yeah.
it was actually I found it out recently, but it was actually known as of very early on. I think it was like I think Mike Bloom, maybe Dalton Ross, but I think Mike Bloom was like on set for day one and posted like a "Here's what you didn't see" article. And I think he posted that like as of episode 1 or 2. I just didn't see it until recently. But yeah, he was like on set and like wrote about it and said that it was like a beautiful conversation.
Damn. Well,
Yeah. So
good thing
that.
we got the poop jokes then.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And
let me just
you guys
say.
like idols and journeys?
Mm.
Okay, let me just say the 3 ranking means something here. Well, it doesn't mean as much as it might on a better season. But Sage is not Sage. Yes, the poop and pee jokes for the first 4 episodes were pretty much all she got. But and there's a big but there, is I think what the overall story comes to with how Sage is overall this emotional player who has a hard time getting along with people, and I think the poop and pee jokes do set that up a little bit, because I do think the show is trying to portray her as the weird girl, and Jawan also as the weird guy with all the like, oh my god, I stole Savannah's bag and I'm putting sticks in it, and then they bond, and then it's like she's the outsider, and that does set that up, and then her whole conflict with Shannon is like the whole fakeness thing, and the whole like poop and pee jokes thing. I think does like show that she's trying to be like the real person here. There is like a overall story to Sage that, and then once the poop and pee jokes like cool off, like yes, they're omnipresent in a way, and that is not great. And like the stuff that Tipara was saying about the sexuality stuff, that's a much better way of presenting, oh my god, I'm the outsider, than I like to joke about poop, and I like to poop my pants, and I like collecting blackheads in a jar. It's like,
That's insane that she does that. That's the grossest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
and it's like this girl was in the military, and like I'm like, I can barely believe it, but I do think Sage as like an emotional driver of like, oh my god, let's get Sophie out because she backstabbed me, or I hate Savannah because she's, I don't know, the popular girl, I guess, even though everyone does want Savannah out regardless, is interesting story. There is the story arc that makes her interesting, and is a big reason I think there's this that it drives a lot of the narrative in a positive direction, that Sage is like making more emotional decisions, whereas like if the game was run by Steven and Alex, I think it would be a lot more boring.
Yeah, I think in the communities that I'm in, I do think Sage, compared to Steven and Alex, is more polarizing than like straight up unpopular. Like I've seen a number of like diehard Sage fans, and like Sage, it was my last place for this season and is pretty low down my list of like all-time characters, to be honest. But even with that said, I see the vision and I get why people respond positively to her, because I do agree, like Sage is like in a lot of ways meant to kind of be this like emotional like heart of like the season, and like is the vehicle through which
I would like to say something. The reason I'm not huge on Sage, it feels like in many ways the show kind of infantilizes her
Mm.
and
I
like
can get that
makes
for
her look.
sure.
I feel like the show makes her look out to be like a childish idiot. It's like, no, this is a 30-year-old woman. She's a 30-year-old intelligent woman. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think she played a bad game of Survivor, but like, she's very clearly like a full grown adult woman, and it just feels like the edit treats her like a child.
I
I
can see
do.
that,
Which
and
exactly
I
which
want to
in a
respond
way
to that.
is probably
terrible.
which based on the way Sage talked about herself on the season, oh, that's like not the most comfortable, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with that in many aspects, but I also think that's kind of how she's viewed by other people in a
I
way.
think
Like, unfortunately for her and like society and like whatever, but I don't think that's an unfair depiction necessarily, because that's how she feels the world treats her. And like that might be really mean to say, but it's also not. I'm having a hard time saying this.
My thing
Um.
is like if she feels
Mhm,
that if she feels that the world treats her that way unfairly,
mhm.
then the edit should treat her the way she wants to be treated.
yeah, and I think it's
Yeah, it
also I
feels a
think
little
part of
mean
why she ends
spirited.
up that way. I feel like part of why she ends up maybe coming across infantilized, and I think you could say the same about some other characters here too. I think it's probably a result to some extent of like the fact that the show is made to a high degree now for like literal children, and
Yeah.
that's I think that that's also like I don't disagree with Lights that, like, some of, like, the gross out stuff with her is them depicting her as, like, weird and stuff to make the point about
Sorry.
her being the social outsider and connecting with Jawan. But I also think that part of why it's there is just because, like, the show's made for kids, and so they're putting in poop and pee jokes because haha, poop and pee funny. Like, you got a ton of that in 44 as well, which this season reminded me of really early on. So I think part of it's just that's just a thing that the show does now, and that I just, like, don't just don't care for, even though I do appreciate how she's the vehicle through which a lot of the better and emotional content that the season did have, like, arises.
I do want to make another point on the emotional content is the fact that she loses the finale is set up, like in the Sophie boot, where it's like
Absolutely.
the whole idea of revenge is like Savannah doesn't actually commit to it, and Savannah does, and Sage talks about essentially handing Savannah the million there, and like the whole idea of like faking it and being herself. I think it totally makes sense in the context. So I think the story does come out, and the fact that I'm not as bothered by the jokes leads me to think that someone who's such a driver of the season in a positive, like emotional aspect is actually good.
Yeah, which makes sense. That all definitely makes sense. I just, like,
Mhm.
subjectively respond worse to the gross out stuff than a lot of people. And even then, what I will say, because, like, I did mention, like, Sage is pretty far down the list of some of my least favorite characters that I've seen on the show. But once again, that does not fall on, like, Sage as a person for me. That falls on how the show handled her. Because, for example, one of, like, the gross out things with her is, like, in the first episode, like, she's giving a confessional and, like, she burps in the middle of it, and they just, like, leave it in there. When I'm sure there's hundreds and hundreds of contestants that have given thousands of confessionals, people probably, like, burp or sneeze or something in a confessional all the time, and they just cut it out because it's kind of like people don't want to hear that through, like, a high res microphone. It's just kind of icky or whatever. So you're just gonna cut that out or have them say the sentence again. But for Sage, like, they include it because she's, like, the gross one. So it's like that was a moment I didn't like. I just don't enjoy watching that. I just find it unpleasant. But that's not her fault. That's, like, a normal thing that her body did. But the show's choosing to leave that in because of this, like, depict this vision by the producers that, like, that kind of thing is funny, and I don't agree with that. So it's like that's not her fault as a human, but I just don't like the direction that they took with her.
She
The
does
last
do
Silly
it
stuff
though.
that doesn't need to be in the show. I do agree.
Like
Mhm.
she talks about this stuff like unprompted though, which is
She
like
does. Yeah, she does.
Mhm.
I don't know. I remember I had an interaction with someone at some point during the season because I really do try to consistently, like, take the route of if there's something I don't like, not blaming the contestants and blaming the producers, because part of that is because I think it's accurate in terms of how the show's constructed. Part of it is because the contestants are open to way more personal criticism by fans, and so I just want to offset that whether I'm correct or not. Like, I'd rather err on the side of not blaming the contestants because they get enough hate anyway. But, like,
Yeah.
so I remember I was having that type of interaction with someone. I don't remember who. No one, like, here, but just in some comment where I was saying the type of thing I said just now, where it's like, I find that Sage content gross, but I'm sure she's talking about other things that we're not seeing. And someone said, well, she talks about it so much that I don't know, maybe there's really nothing else they can do with her as a character. And I was like, yeah, maybe in this case you're right. And then I read that article saying that she had a whole conversation about her queer identity that we didn't see. And I'm like, okay, I feel so validated that yes, they absolutely could have made her more interesting. Like, there's no
Yeah,
world where it makes more sense to show the
Yep.
fart, poop, pee stuff than, like, show your first discussion probably ever in 49 seasons of, like, demisexuality. And as an
that's
aside,
Frank
yeah.
Garrison, I think, mentions that on.
I don't think Frank Garrison knows what demisexuality is.
Yeah.
No, he comes
Right.
out to Big Tom, and Big Tom's really
Yeah.
understanding. It's a very good.
Mhm.
I'm surprised you all forgot about that one.
Yeah, you gotta watch recap
Uh,
episodes for this stuff. No, on and as, like, an aside, but as to where the show is now and how the new era has kind of developed in line with some of what we talked about the diversity stuff, I think that if this season were filmed and aired when season 41 or 42 were filmed or aired, I think we probably would have gotten that conversation between Sage and Savannah. Like, if they had the exact same footage, but this were being broadcast in 2021, I think they would have shown it then, and you could debate what the reasons for that are, but either way, I
but
don't
maybe
like
they
the
interrupted the
direction the new era is
finale.
moving. Maybe
Yeah.
they
For those
interrupted
reasons.
exactly. I think that is a
Um,
significant part of it, as well as
Oh
how fans
shit!
responded to it in 41.
I forgot to put a joke slide in that the 19th ranked character of the season was Trump.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
put him number 19 on my ranking. So
that is true.
Is he better? No, let's not go there with
I'm
where
gonna.
he would fit in the overall character ranking.
I
I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna co-sign a lot of what Tapara said about Sage. I basically agree with all of that. My other main thing is she was kind of mugging the camera a lot with like reactions faces, which I found to be very annoying. But like I'm also not gonna be like, oh, you're trying to get screen time on the TV show. You went to live on a fucking island and uproot your entire life. Not uproot, like put your life on pause for a month for it. It's like fair enough. But I did not enjoy all the mugging the camera. That
Yeah,
was my other main
24
issue.
2014 Reddit derp face.
I don't give.
I
I literally could not care less about
I didn't
that.
have
But
that
Yeah,
that's me.
I
big of
don't.
an issue.
I don't mind it, and I will just raise the perspective. I did just Google this to double check that Sage somewhere in her bio or something did mention being neurodivergent. She didn't say in what way specifically, but like
Oh well, now I'm the
lead
asshole.
that
Yeah.
can lead to like facial reactions not being what people
Mhm.
expect. And so just
Oh, fair
like
enough then.
in the very specific case, because I do agree there is like camera mugging in new era seasons, especially on the juries at
Yeah,
times.
she's far
So
from the
for
only
Sage,
problem. I think Jawan was doing a lot of
yeah,
that too.
yeah, so for her specifically being neurodivergent, like I know I saw comments about like her facial reactions being extra, but like whether or not someone, just enjoys watching her or not, like I don't necessarily want to ascribe inauthenticity to it, just given the potential neurological aspect of that. Like as someone
I
who's
think
autistic
yeah,
and so my own facial reactions might be unexpected at
Mhm.
times.
I
Yeah.
think some of the stuff
Um.
absolutely could have been that. I think stuff like where she's like smiling and gives Shannon a hug and then like looks right in the camera and rolls her eyes while she's
Yeah,
hugging Shannon. That's clearly for the camera. I think
yeah,
that's like
Yeah,
absolutely what that is.
yeah, that's for the
it.
Stuff like
camera. And
that, I
honestly,
also
I think
think
I
I
think I
that's
like
um.
that.
but
I like that kind of fourth wall stuff. I
but
do.
like
I
the best
Speaking of
parts.
Sage, reason I have Sage. The reason I don't have. Yeah. The reason I have Sage more than just one spot above Steven is the stuff with Shannon.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's something I think I would like if I was able to get behind. Because part of it for me, I
Yep.
think you're clearly meant to root for Sage in that interaction, but I
But
wasn't
yeah,
really able to. I didn't enjoy her
and like
time on the show all that much.
she's not good, but like that doesn't mean that I can't root against Shannon.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
I
I'm.
think Shannon going further with all of that would have been funny, but I understand the point. I do want to bring, and we'll get into Shannon and Sage with Shannon probably, because that is like a
Yeah.
much higher percentage of Shannon's character. But I do want to also mention, I don't know how much we generally account for like the post show stuff, like not post show, but like the reunion, like live show thing. But I do think Sage reacting the way she did about how people didn't like her and her completely breaking down is like, and like how, and like if you've seen any post show stuff, it's very clear that the cast did not treat Sage well in that final tribal, and it was worse than was shown on the
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
screen product.
and I'm
That
always going to
does,
advocate for showing stuff like that. I
Hmm.
always find it kind of annoying and frustrating when they don't show the uglier
and
aspects of
Yeah,
that,
Final Tribal because I think if you go
Hashtag.
through a list of the
yeah,
10 or 20 or so best jury questions of all time, most of them are not very nice things to say to people. We
yeah.
all
I
love
was.
steaks and rats. I don't think that's a very kind thing to say.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you
But
for
it's good
mentioning this because
TV.
I meant to mention this but forgot. Yeah, I was watching the finale. I only just finished it earlier today, a couple days after it aired. But when I was watching it, like, they do the thing where they show the jury now. And as I was watching it, something that I was thinking and even like typed is that like I have mixed emotions on the showing the jury before final tribal segments. In that conceptually, I love that idea. The power shifting over to the jury is literally the most important thing about the show, in my opinion. Like, no, like that is not hyperbole. It is my favorite thing about the show. But whenever they kind of do that in these newer seasons, like the way that it's framed is usually the jury members that are shown talking about how like all three of the finalists played a great game and are great competitors and are really deserving to be there, and I can't wait to like see them fight it out as see who the most deserving one is out of all of these great players. Which like if you imagine something like if Survivor Palau had a segment like that and you got people hyping up like Katie is like this great, or like Stephanie in Guatemala. If you got people being like, wow, Stephanie like made it to the end and really fought, like that would completely undercut the point of Stephanie as a character or Katie as a character in that season if you lead into the final tribal with people hyping up how they played this great strategic game or something. So I was thinking as I watched it, like, I don't like how formulaic these segments are in terms of focusing upon that, but I was like, you're probably thinking too hard about it. It's probably not that big of a deal, whatever, just keep watching the finale. And then after I watch the finale, I read what Lights just mentioned, which is that indeed, Final Tribal was a lot harder on Sage than we saw, which sounds interesting and worth showing, but they didn't show it. And I think the reason for that is that they want these Final Tribal councils now to always be this like closely fought competitive thing between these great strategists at the expense of maybe giving us something that's more emotional, individual, and interesting of like the personal objections people had.
Yeah, like in the final tribal, what did we get from Sage? It was like I barely remember it because it was so like not nondescript.
Yeah, she talked about her story of her friend, and like that is emotional, but like that doesn't, there's not much of a story kind of surrounding that on the show. But she did talk about that, which is emotional and in a vacuum. I appreciate it. But as far as interactions between her and contestants that came up, yeah, there was not much of it that was of note.
Most of Sage's content is, oh my god, I was an intelligence analyst, which is another one of the I lied about my job. Not that she really like. You don't need to bring up that you used to be a whatever, but like she uses that as a sticking point in the end.
And it's like, come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just another person being like, "This is my job."
Yeah,
I do think
segue us.
the thing with the friend.
segue
I
us
mean,
a
it's
little.
another real one last thing. I think the thing with her friend at Found Tribal Council, I thought that was very, emotional, of course. But it's another thing where like we're brought up this like good character hook in the 11th hour, and it's
it's like there's no way this
maybe show this earlier and it would ring a lot more. Not like
she's like Uli knew about this. Like she clearly mentioned this on original Uli and maybe not again, based on what she said there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing I will say about Sage before we finally segue on, a video of her on RHAP just got sent in the 49 discussion chat in the Discord, and when asked if she would play again,
join the Discord.
Yes, when asked if she would play again, said no, that shit was boring.
I can respect that as an answer for sure.
At least she's aware that it was boring.
Yeah. I'm sure it gets extremely boring.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's so boring
moving on.
Watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think I think the issues with the season are far from it was boring.
Yeah.
I think.
Anyways, finally moving on.
It's not Ghost Island.
Did you know MC had an idol?
It's Ghost Island. Yeah, MC's just someone they don't let be anything.
Yeah, I feel like I could be wrong, we'll get into it, but I feel like this could be one of the quicker ones to talk about compared to the ones we talked about so far, because I have very little to say about MC. Like, she had.
Well, I think there's one really big thing to bring up that isn't actually in the episodes, but
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we touched on that with Alex, but
yes, episode-wise, I can rattle off my MC thoughts really quickly. Like, she had like a scene kind of about like body image that was good and interesting, but kind of like Lydia's scene similarly in 42, it didn't really connect to much else of what we saw. And then in her boot episode, we heard like 7 billion times she played her idol incorrectly, and that got repetitive. And that is all that I have to say about MC's time on Survivor.
Her being Steven's #1 ally is not set up and magically appears in the middle of episode 3, which is a bit more egregious than any other one. It's the only one I noted that was like egregious. Why are you each other's #1s? All the rest are a little more set up. This is the most like I know Kyle said this is a trend, but this is the most egregious option.
Yeah, that was the specific one I was thinking of as the most egregious one.
The whole idol hunt with Savannah is like interrupting her is more of a Savannah moment, and MC's just I'm hunting for the idol for the 30 billionth time.
Yeah. The other one I think is Sage and Jawan. Sage and Jawan feel like they don't have a dynamic until the third swap tribe, but they were like on the same tribe in the beginning, so that feels weird that their dynamic isn't really there. But
yeah, but I think there is something more with that like Sage was trying to fit in with the Shannon Savannah thing, and then like and then she ends up with the guy.
Yeah, but still.
Like, she so clearly, like, wants Shannon to like her, and then she realizes Shannon doesn't, and it's, like, something along those lines.
Yeah, something like that, probably.
She isn't swapped with Jawan there, so it's, like, sure. I'm okay with that.
Dang.
Yeah, the big thing with MC, I almost called her Michelle.
That is her name.
It is her name, yeah, I know. But the big thing with MC for me is she gets voted out. This isn't in the episodes at all. She gets voted out because she doesn't want Jawan to be the target. And the reason she doesn't want Jawan to be the target is because she doesn't want there to be a bunch of black people voted out in a row at the jury,
Because that's the
which
most
of course
visible.
does happen anyways. And I think that is, I'd say, like a criminal failure to not air
I don't. Yeah, that is.
something like that. And
I
instead, you're
really
like, wow, she really misplayed for no reason at all.
that.
Huh.
Yeah. No, thank you for mentioning that. When I said I had no more thoughts on her time on Survivor, I guess I meant like the episodes. But yeah, no. As
Oh,
far
in the
as
episodes, there's not much to say. But
yeah, but no, yeah,
there's-
yes, no. As far as things they didn't show, like that's yeah, yeah. That should go down in the hall of infamy of like worst Survivor storytelling mistakes. Like that is, I
Yes.
don't know how you don't include that.
It's also literally why she gets voted out. So it's like,
Yeah.
even ignoring the fact that it's like, I, subjectively would be more interested in that. Like, objectively, that is the reason she got voted out, which is the
Yeah.
main thing that they
Yeah.
focus on now. It's bizarre that it's not there.
We'll have
Yeah.
more to say about the Jawan side of that when we get to Jawan.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, even as far as MC goes, it would make her elimination more interesting. It would make the season a lot more distinct, but they are just terrified of telling those stories now and really dropped off in them after around season 42, which is very unfortunate and very unfortunate decision. Which, so once again, it's yet another one. We're like 4-0 on this so far. We're like, their problems that I have with the character are very much like a failure of storytelling, not of the human being. Because it sounds like MC was giving them good content there, and we just didn't get to see it.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these people end up on the show. It's not a mistake that they got
Yeah.
on there. So,
Yeah.
if she's one of the 9 best women, or 10, because she was an alternate, well, the 10 best women you had out there, why don't you show us why?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't have anything else left to say about MC. I think her actual time on the show is pretty just standard. Like, finds idol, plays it wrong, gets voted out. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like in the past with 60-minute episodes, this would have been complete invisible from MC, and that would been we would question why it happened, but based on what we saw, it's not. This is the kind of character that 90 minutes are not needed for, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yep.
like I think it's nice for her that she gets to have her time on the show, but the story of the season does not need her to have that time on the show, unfortunately.
Like,
I
give
guess
her content to Sophie. Unfortunately, I feel bad, but there's a reason that people like Sophie a lot more than MC.
Yeah, I guess even then I still, it's somewhat of an issue of runtime, but also not, because like they could have used that runtime significantly better in her boot episode. And even if that meant
Yeah,
that all she
totally.
had was a really good boot episode, there's plenty of good characters who are good mostly for their boot episode. I mean, not
Yeah.
most good characters, but like, there's definitely examples of it.
Yeah, like look at Roger Sexton.
That's
who's
my first thoughts were
almost
Janu and
exactly like
Roger.
MC.
Janu.
Janu and Roger Sexton were the two that I thought of.
I mean, Janu's basically only in her boot episode, and she's great.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's finally move on to
Third.
Jason.
The question marks are needed. I think Tipara would agree with the question marks as well.
I
maybe
put a graphic of our Tipara. I know you're not watching the screen share.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was there until just now.
But
I
the
am
list of just look at it.
I know, yeah, I just pulled it up. I didn't have it up before because I didn't realize what it was. Yeah.
I think you just need to explain this cake, and we'll get into it once you do.
I love this
go
guy,
for it.
man. I think he's okay. Like, I don't know if love is the right word, but I strongly am I love how much of like a 6 out of 10 character he is to me, which in this cast is gonna put you top 3. Like I feel like Jason is like okay. I do not think that Jason is conventionally good at talking to a camera in the way that a lot of people on Survivor are, but that
I'd agree with that.
makes him like appealing and interesting and enigmatic to me in the sense that it just makes him feel like you just cast this regular dude. Like you just cast this like person and put him in front of the camera and told him to talk, and I'm just here for it. I don't know. When he had his confessional about like I don't remember, it was like I am a lobster and I like have my like pincer. It was just really slowly delivered in an atypical way that is itself an uncommon, interesting way to deliver a confessional, and I was here for it. And I don't know, and he made some niche video game references that were fun. So there's that. I don't know. I I just like his vibes. He just has like the simple answer for me is just aura. Jason just has aura to me in a very unique way for a contestant where I find it fascinating to listen to him speak and be aware that he's a contestant on this show. That's my off the cuff answer.
Okay, so let's get into why I don't like Jason. Okay, so that I feel like for one, he breaks the fourth wall that Survivor does over and over again now.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of that, Tipara. I cannot stand that when they're like, it's like a show you're watching.
No, it starts on the mat chat, like one of the very first scenes of the season. I was the male alternate. I'm like, I don't want to know the casting. Like that should be that. I don't want to know that.
I always want to know that.
But like, I want to know that, like in your cast video. I don't want to know that on the on-screen nationally televised broadcast.
Yeah.
Then he starts talking about niche Smash things. I'm not a Smash person at all. I don't know any of these things, but like Project M, as far as I know, is some niche, like not like base game Smash reference. It's like you're going way too deep. Like I don't know, like in Amazon we were talking about it with Roger Sexton. There's something about like Perry Como and like prune juice or whatever. I'm like, I don't know how popular these things were in like whatever time Roger Sexton is from, but they have to be they have to be way more well known than Project M. So it's
I think the joke with the Perry Como thing is that it's some shit only old people would care about.
Yeah, it's
like
and
you ask someone above like the age of 65 or 70, they definitely know who Perry Como is. They really
I know
Project M on CBS primetime, didn't they?
Yeah, it's like the weirdest stuff, and then he does it again. He does it naming random Pokemon. It's like,
I will concede that how one responds to it probably depends on like one's familiarity with the reference, in the sense that like when like Rodney or like Caleb on 45 mention like sports people, like mention athletes, I have no idea what they're talking about, and so I don't care. Whereas here I get the reference, so I'm like, awesome.
To be fair, the sports player, the best players Rodney had references are Michael Jordan and Luke Longley, and everyone knows Michael Jordan, and no one knows who the fuck Luke Longley is at all. So I think
that's the point.
The point is that he's like, come on, yeah. It's like we're supposed to be this iconic duo. You've got me feeling like some fucking random guy no one cares about. That's what he's doing.
Tipara, please tell me you know who Michael Jordan is.
So I know that Michael Jordan is a really big basketball player, but I will say that as someone who lives like near Chicago, I did not learn until well into my 20s that he played for the Chicago Bulls. So like I have heard of it.
That is impressive.
I learned that like a few years ago.
That sounds almost impossible.
Not to foreshadow Rizzo, but when he oh my god, what is wrong with me? When he name dropped Luka Doncic,
yeah,
you were also like,
Tara also did not know, and I was, like, am I supposed to know who that is? And we were all like, man, come on.
I was like, there's a pretty important headline about him from this year.
But that's an NBA
but it makes sense.
trade.
Like, Tara doesn't know about like trade.
Michael Jordan.
But
Michael Jordan is a
Luka thing went beyond the. Oh yeah, I mean Michael Jordan is
This is how little
I don't
there is to
know.
say about Jason, by the way.
Yeah, he's
so we're just
he's not
dunking on
he's
Tipara
not
now.
he's not someone who
I
should be on the
I
show,
agree with
and
Tipara that he comes
also
off like some guy on the show. They just found some
Yeah.
random guy and put him on. I agree with that.
And
I just don't think it's much of a positive.
I
Yeah,
don't think
I,
it's a good thing.
I think interestingly, the reasons why I have Jason number 3 and others have him like bottom 2, I think are the exact same reasons. I think
Yeah.
it's like the exact same thing.
low-key.
I just find it fascinating and transfixing that he was on Survivor. And I will say I do like the fourth wall stuff. I'm very here for that. I like knowing about the behind the scenes stuff, including within the episodes. I just think it's an interesting decision, and I wish they did more of it. Not to harp once again on liking the earliest New Era seasons a bit more, but 41 and 42, especially 41, did a lot of that, and I was very here for it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't-
like the I'm such a small little guy kind of
Oh my
stuff.
God.
That's not really in the
They-
episodes,
and,
though. That's
uh,
mostly
it's
preseason
that's
cast
true,
it's
that's
in
stuff.
the episodes. It's in the episodes a little bit.
The vibe is there, but those words are
Vibe,
not
yeah.
spoken.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
As
But
someone
it's
who didn't watch
definitely
the
that
show, I don't
vibe
know what
that
you're
I just
referencing.
it's definitely that vibe that I just like can't. And it's like it to a degree it also feels like he's being a little infantilized by the edit.
Yeah,
this
they
Yeah.
do
dude
that a
is in
lot.
his
That's a
30s.
problem I do have with a
Dude,
lot of the New Era seasons, where you
yeah.
get someone
This
who's
dude
like
is like
35 and they talk about them like they're 19. And I felt similarly about Camilla last season, where a
hey,
Yeah,
lot of
but
the way the show portrays
like
her, it's like,
Jason,
dude, she's like a
I
30-year-old woman.
do
Jason
I do
Jason
wanna
is in his 30s and married, and they edit him like a 7-year-old.
I do wanna argue that I think both Camilla and Jason come off younger than they are, just like the way they are.
Oh yeah.
And it's not
Yeah,
their
I mean, I think they
fault,
also are
and
just
the
people who
edit
look
plays
young.
into
So.
it. And it's like the whole diversity thing. It's like I don't know, different races age differently and look differently, and we're most familiar with white people aging.
Yeah.
I also,
Well,
I will say, I also think that they gave Jason the right amount of airtime. Like, I think that there's some of these characters where, like, Alex or Steven, like I kind of said, I don't know if it's Alex, but I meant to. I think they could work well as, like, a supporting character. And, like, that's the role that they left Jason in, so I can appreciate that. Like, I don't have any issues with how the show handled Jason. Like, I don't think that there were missteps made, really, for me, in the conversion of Jason's on-island experience to the episodes that we got. And that's kind of a lot of what I judge off of. So that's probably part of it, too, is like, hey, you know, like, maybe he doesn't cut the best confessional, but that's why they kind of didn't show a lot of them, which allows me to kind of have that kind of, like, appeal of, like, who is this guy when he is talking, which I wouldn't if they showed as much of him as they did of, like, Alex or something.
Did I get disconnected again?
No, you didn't.
No, you're good. You're good, Mike.
Mike, we can hear you.
Oh,
I guess not.
I think that we're done with Jason, all right?
Probably,
Yeah.
No, we can do Jason for hours.
Who's next?
My prediction is Jawan. I don't think any of us really like Jawan.
I think I could do a Jawan defense, but I'm not going to because I don't agree with it.
There's definitely a defense there. It's just he is like pretty annoying and not very good as a TV character, really.
Yep. All right. Time to move on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to
Oh,
Man with the Legend,
Oh,
RAC,
big
GOD,
Whiz
RizGod,
God,
Baby 1.0.
I would
First
probably
thing I
have
want
a
to say
few
before we
spots
get
higher
into
if he
any
didn't say
details
that.
on 49,
Let's just say
this is hold on. One thing I want to say about Rizzo, but before we talk about anything about him on 49, when they show off Mr. Beast in the 50 trailer, you can clearly hear him just like geeking in the background.
Oh god, it's so funny. You're watching, you're just like, oh, of course, this guy loves this.
we haven't
Maybe he's the
given
friend of the
this
show,
a
friend of the
50
pod.
takes.
Just as a really quickly, as a connection to what we were saying about my lack of knowledge of celebrities, in the Discord that everyone listening to this should join, I did do a poll of whether people prior to watching the 50 trailer could have recognized Mr. Beast from a photo, and I was the only one who could not. So
Yeah, that is
Join the
crazy.
Discord to weigh in on important matters. Join the Discord to weigh in on important matters, like whether you know what Mr. Beast looks like.
Exactly.
Join the Discord
Okay,
to explain
so
to Tipara who people like Lionel Messi are, because he probably doesn't know.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry, Lance.
okay,
What were you gonna say?
okay, so I think I'm a much bigger fan of like the ironic, like so into it that it's like so bad it's good type of funny that I think 50 is going to be great for all the wrong reasons. Like just lean into like celebrity crap. It's going to be the most memeable, funniest thing ever, and that's what Rizzo is. Like the whole segment of I think possibly my favorite part of the finale was when Rizzo asked Jeff to call him Rizgod. It was like the funniest shit that this guy just
That was surreal.
does this
That felt
bit
like
for the camera. It barely felt
Yeah.
real. It was so funny. It was so bad it's good. And the fact that Jeff actually did it is so good.
I
props
will
to Jeff
say,
Jeff
for
would do
actually
that.
calling him
Yeah.
God.
Of course
I
Jeff would
will.
do that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, um, despite the whole being an idol guy and all of his gimmicks and all of the strategy and all of the things we
Mhm.
were all losing our shit over preseason, I think Rizzo does actually have the natural charm to pull it off as best
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
possible.
He's not that much of an idol guy because A, he finds one idol and just memes
Well,
the
to be
shit out of
fair,
it.
he talks about it a lot. He's
Yeah.
absolutely, I'd say, for sure an idol guy.
But it's always like, yes, I agree he's an idol guy, but he's not like I think the worst part of idols are idol hunts. It's not because they're the least interesting. They're
You there?
always the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
They're idol hunts in the new era. Well, even before the new
Are
era, but like
fucking awesome.
But like
Uh,
they try to vary them up. Like they have the birdcage idol and the weird phrase idol, but at the core of all of them, it's say a funny phrase or it's go on an adventure through the woods and find these boxes and this key, and it's or like I don't know. Even when they had the challenge idols, it was always the same. Once you have the idol, they can be a bit more interesting because it's like will he play it? Will he not? Will he get voted out with it? There's more options. But with an idol hunt, they rarely ever show an idol hunt where the person doesn't end up finding the idol or get targeted for looking for the idol. So it's like and if it's
yeah.
not the first, so it's always the same idea. So I think Rizzo is better. And as you can see, I have him in 7th compared to like Kyle, who has him at 13, and Tipara, who has him at 16. The fact that he is just like mugging the camera for this idol does fit his character, and it's like I think it's overall a bit charming, and he does have the charisma, and he works well with Savannah, and it's like he pulls off this. If he was in Steven or Alex's role, he pulls it off better because he's like just a goof dork ball.
Yeah, I do
so-
think he has that kind of like annoying little brother charm to him where like I didn't love him on the show, but I think there is like a lot more there for him than basically every other guy that's like that. There's just something about him where he is a little bit better at sounding like, oh, I'm gonna play this idol, call me, Riz God. I'm gonna do that. Like he's better at it than a lot of people are. I just think it's a
And like
bad archetype to be in.
it's not like he did it on purpose either. Like the fact that he sucks at challenges and openly admits to sucking at puzzles just does fit the whole like. And then he's like, "Oh my god, I'm going to copy their puzzle because I suck at." It's like
Yeah, I
these are
like how he's
real
always cheating on
aspects
the
of him.
puzzles. That always made me laugh.
Yeah, it's like it's such
And
a
the
real part of it, and the fact he loses at fire as well is like his whole like overall like the running joke is he sucks at challenges, he sucks at fire, he can't walk in flippers. Like it is a bit of a like
laugh at him.
Yeah.
I
yeah, so
do love during the finale. I think during the terrible, by the way, that they always do this. The like advantage hunt for the final immunity challenge. It's like the worst thing ever. I don't know why they keep doing that, but I did laugh when it's like some puzzle that they have to solve, and then Rizzo's like, you know your boy Riz got to cheat on the puzzle, and he's just cheating. That made me laugh.
I'll say.
I will say,
Mhm.
thankfully, I was worried preseason, which is why we were all freaking out. I was worried preseason that he was just like going to be so into this Riz God shtick, and he is, but it's in a way where like he's fully in on the joke.
He
Yeah.
knows it's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I was just gonna say, this is a total aside, but Lights was talking about idol hunts and how each one's kind of the same thing. I just want to say real quick, shout out therefore to underrated Survivor 43 with its awesome bead idol twist. But as far as Rizzo goes, like,
It's
yeah,
even better
Rizzo,
the third time.
it
Yeah,
is,
the issue
though.
with the bead idol twist is it ends up being all the same because it's done 3 times.
But it's still awesome. But as far as Rizzo goes, yeah, on a human level, I do think that like he is in on the joke. You know, like I think he's kind of like poking fun at himself and stuff. But like, I just don't think that comes across on the show. Like, I feel like we get
I'd
like.
say it does.
So,
I
like,
thought
I mean, what I mean is like, because what I was gonna say, regardless about him to begin with, is just like I just didn't feel a lot of narrative purpose to like the whole Riz God identity and shtick. Like we hear him describe himself that way, and like I guess that if I had to pick, I get the sense that we're kind of meant to agree with it, with how he goes out talking about being a great player and Jeff calls him by the name and everything. But like, I just don't. I feel like there was a lot more hype of the concept of Riz God than there is of like actual content to him on the show. Like I just like if you have a guy calling himself a god over and over, I expect him to either be like, you know, badass and awesome and like kick ass and like he's like this character that like is very impressive, or like totally fuck up and be a flop. And Rizzo's like just kind of this guy. He's not really either of those
I
things.
think he's both.
There's not
Like,
much. There's just
Yeah.
not much. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
I'm just
think
like I don't know.
he's kind of both. Like, you say he's neither, but I think he's kind of both in the fact he does fuck up every challenge, and also like the fact he pretty much gives himself de facto immunity through the entire merge is really impressive and is like a 99% of why I think he's back for 50.
Yeah, that
I
is
guess.
insane
Yeah.
to do that. To get one idol and just be like, I'm gonna play it, and then not play it, and it works every single time. It's like unreal.
Like,
Again,
part
that
of
like
that
I've said,
is
I'm not a strategy guy. That I did think was like genuinely strategically interesting.
Yeah. To
Mhm.
me, it just. I guess
Shit,
to
this
me,
is
maybe.
guys, this is like actually kind of convincing me to move Rizzo up.
No,
To me,
because you
it's
forget
not,
that
I don't
how
know.
fucking annoying the Riz God thing is every single time.
it
Unfortunately,
depends. Well,
It
I don't.
is, but it's
I
also like
don't think
barely
it.
there. And like
I
it's not barely there. It is not
I
barely there.
It's
It is
definitely
barely
very
there. He
prominent.
says it maybe 5 times.
yeah.
Most
It's
people don't call
plenty of
themselves
times
Riz
early
God
on.
even once.
It,
It's also
Some
like he
people
says it
call
when he's gonna
themselves.
put it out.
yeah, we
Some
get it.
people
It is.
call themselves the War Dog in every episode.
It's
Yeah,
all
man, and
over the
War Dog
start.
is worse. So I'll
Yeah.
agree with you
Yeah.
there.
It's all over the start, and then it comes out again at the end. And I'm just left. I don't know. I'm left feeling like he was a directionless character that like we were neither meant to see it as like. I don't know. I guess I'd be kind of repeating myself, but I just didn't see a lot of direction to it either way, as far as him being like impressive or unimpressive, and he just felt kind of aimless to me for all the focus that he got. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
would
would agree with
agree.
that. A lot of,
I
especially
will
early on,
say,
it just
Early
feels
on, he was very much
like
Savannah's
it was
number
shown.
and circumstantial.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did work a little better for me in the back end of the season when with like the idol thing, but I guess even that just like even if it's strategically distinct, it was less compelling to me. I think because after the first episode of it, it's kind of the same thing each time. And I guess also just watching it as television, like it's kind of the absence of an action and not the action. It's like the thing he's doing is not playing an idol. The thing he's doing is like nothing is happening, which doesn't mean it doesn't have merit as a character. I just mean that like it has less draw for me because it's just like it is very specifically the absence of an actual event. And so
That's
that could work for like an episode, but not
Mhm.
when the whole thing is that he does it like 5 or 6 times in a row or whatever, like I'm gonna lose interest in the absence of anything happening after like the first or second time.
It's perhaps the contrast of it to the fact that no one actually plays an idol right this season. Actually, other than Alex, maybe to like self preservation reasons.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah, I
actually get
can see
votes
that. I
there.
guess for me,
need it, but it does make sense he played it, because it's like there is a reason to play it there. The other ones are kind of you threw it away.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm probably generally not super drawn to like, even though I get what you're saying, and so that's a fair point of juxtaposition. I'm probably not as drawn to like a juxtaposition of whether people are or are not playing idols correctly, because then this would be a much larger topic. A lot of idol or advantage stuff comes down to like really binary variables that you could just look at like on a list of like this person did or did not play the idol correct. Like it doesn't tell me much personal and emotional. So like the fact that Rizzo did that on a season where idols were or were not being played, neither of those feel any different to me than the other thing. But the reasons for that would be a little bit more convoluted than we could go into, I think. But
I will say this was 80 billion times better than we all expected it to be.
Oh yeah,
No,
I was like,
this is what I expected.
I feel like it's honestly, maybe better, more uneventful than I expected. I think I probably expected him to be like either better or worse because I don't know. I'm notwithstanding. I mean, I guess he's probably there to hype up about the celebrities, and also they really prioritize recent seasons on returning player seasons. But as far as what he did on this season specifically, picking him as one of 12 men to represent the history of Survivor, I don't really see it. I don't know. I expected more.
I would agree. I think on the island, like, because they didn't see the air. I think it makes sense to bring him back if you saw him on the island and all the idol shenanigans, and you're Jeff Probst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're Jeff Probst for sure. Yeah, I think that I expected either better or worse out of Rizzo. I expected a bigger character for better or worse, and instead he's just kind of this guy to me.
Yeah.
Like I said,
it doesn't look the most excellent in retrospect when I was all on the internet thinking, oh, this guy's going to be the worst person of all time. And then I meet Rizzo and he's like, yo, you said this about me on Twitter. And I was like, fuck.
I was wondering if you were going to mention that here.
Of course I was going to bring that up eventually. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that's very funny.
But I mean, obviously he was busting my balls. He was a great guy. And then a month later, I'm at a watch party that Ozzy's hosting. And then, I'm talking with Ozzy. Rizzo comes up, and Ozzy and Rizzo are like, "I love you, man. I love you so much. You're like family." And then Ozzy says, "I don't know anyone who doesn't love you." And Rizzo's like, "Oh, well, there's this guy."
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
I can't wait for him to be the tribe of Colby Donaldson.
Yeah, whatever.
I said that. I said that to Rizzo, and he was like, "I don't know who Colby Donaldson is."
Whatever my thoughts are. Oh, that's funny too. Yeah, whatever my thoughts are on like how the TV show used the concept of the Riz God or whatever, like those stories make it very clear why you would cast this guy on the show.
Yeah. And honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm excited for Rizzo on 50.
Oh,
if I were to rank the 50s cast by most to least excited, he would be far from the bottom. He wouldn't be first. He's not Jenna Lewis. He's not Colby. He's not Steph. But
I think there's an actual genuine shot that he's really good on 50 if they do it right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a returning season, so
I can't wait for Riz God Mr. Beast. This
is why Rupert should have been on 50. Imagine how awesome it would be if Rupert was like, me and Laura watch Mr. Beast. That would have been magical.
I hope like Colby or Jenna or whoever makes it to the Mr. Beast segment, if not win the season, but
I'm scanning my mind for like specifically because it's what's the competing casting spot. I'm scanning my mind for like men on Survivor 50 that I'm less excited for than Riz God, and I can only think of like one or two.
The spot is Andy. This is Andy's spot.
Yeah, it was Andy. I think. I'm taking Rizzo.
And I talked to Andy about it the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, after seeing Mr. Beast, I think I'm okay with getting cut like that." But Riz, what do you guys think would be fun if Colby got to be there for the Mr. Beast segment? Do you think it'd be funnier if he was talking about, Mr. Beast, what a guy, or him being like, I don't know who the fuck Mr. Beast is?
Oh, totally the latter, especially because that ties in with the Heroes versus Villains premiere where he doesn't know who the people on his own tribe are. when he
Yeah,
literally
that-
asks if
yeah.
Amanda and Suri were on the same season.
According to Tina Wesson, Colby did like put more effort into looking people up for 50.
Yeah.
Oh, he watched like everything.
Yeah, like I think he doesn't want another heroes versus villains.
Yeah.
I definitely, not to get too into the weeds on 50, because there's a ton we could say, but just since we're talking about the Mr. Beast thing, I wonder what it, and this is also more relevant now than it would be in a few months, I wonder what it would be like to be one of the people who were on that season, or another, contestants who have friends on the season, and have known for like however many months or whatever, that that's what's going to be promoted in the trailer and that fans are going to hate it. Like, I bet a ton of those contestants have been waiting on bated breath to be like, oh my god, this is like a bomb that's about to drop into fandom, and like nobody knows yet. I wonder what that experience and perspective was like of knowing that like Survivor 50 has Mr. Beast and the fans don't know that yet. That'd be fascinating info to be sitting on.
Oh
They
yeah,
booed,
for Billie
they-
Eilish boomerang idol. How do you think Rick
I-
Devens felt sitting on that for so long?
Right.
Rick
I
Devens
think
is one of the
on,
only people that kept his NDA.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. And if he said that there was a Billie Eilish idol on 50, everyone would have just been like, "Oh, he's fucking with us." He could have got away with it for sure.
uh-huh.
Like if Aubrey says that, you're like, "Oh my god, she's telling the truth." But Rick Devens he's trolling.
Yeah. Oh man.
Wait, how many of these celebrities do you think Mike White personally has met or knows?
I've wondered that.
Sydney Sweeney's going to be on there for the white power immunity.
No,
Don't put that in the
no.
episode. Oh,
I feel I don't know. Mike White might be in a different world as Zach Bryan or Mr. Beast. He may have been in the same room as Billie Eilish.
I bet he's met Jimmy Fallon though. But
Yes,
he was on Jimmy Fallon. I think I watched that one.
Jimmy Fallon is my favorite Survivor 49 character for sure though.
At Bryson Wendell, they booed Mr. Beast louder than Trump got booed, and Trump really got booed.
Trump and Mr. Beast are basically the same guy if you really think about it.
I think there's a couple major differences.
Maybe.
I mean the AIDS. Anyways, who's that?
Yeah, let's move on. Riz gets a certified, far exceeded my expectations, and I'm somehow looking forward to him on 50. All right, let's go, Jawan.
I am shocked he's higher than Rizzo.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
Thanks,
surprised
Tipara.
he a little more love. I don't know.
Thanks, Tipara.
Yeah, Jawan is like fine supporting character to me. I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten a little bit more, maybe not love, but like in the community. Just 'cause, like I don't know, like he like I don't know, he had his stuff with Savannah, like he drove a little bit of conflict. I don't know, he felt like he didn't really have a distinct role, but like he was usually featured in like character scenes that I did not find to be like as cringe as like the Steven Chicken one and stuff. Like he drove interpersonal stuff, and I can't say that about a lot of this cast of characters.
I think Jawan is a sponge.
He just
I agree.
He just felt like another one of those people that they took a grown adult and edited him like a child.
Like I think Jawan is what a lot of people think is like bad Rizzo, in my opinion. But apparently this average does not agree. So let's argue this point. Jawan is very good when he's interacting with Savannah. He's fine with Sage, but like when he interacts with Steven or Jeff Probst, he's really annoying.
Yeah.
It's
I think
the worst, like he's in the Jason Pokemon stuff. He does he mugs the camera in a way that that annoys me more than anyone. He always has like this Rizzo does it funny, but I feel like Jawan's just like one-liners about like some Gen Z slang it never lands the way Rizzo's does.
Yeah, and
don't know.
I will say, while I have him at number 5, which very blatantly like stands out on this slide, I'm just looking at like my ranking of like characters that I've from seasons I've watched recently, and just for context, I have him like one spot below Jay Maya and a couple spots above like Justin the Pizza Guy and Desiree from Ghost Island. So he's
Oh
not
man,
really ranking among like great characters here. He's about 5 or 6 spots below Seabass and Chelsea Walker. So I'm not like, I don't
bro.
think he's awesome, but like I think he's like a decent supporting character is like how I feel.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess I get that.
He's, I don't know. It's just the way the Jawan the character just annoys me.
Yeah, I can see that. He does have a lot of like the vibes of like new era stuff that I think bother other people more than me a lot of the time, if that makes sense, kind of. I don't know.
so here's
Like
this one.
the nerdy geeky super fan thing or whatever.
So there's one scene with Steven where he's like, Savannah the Savage, so fierce, I'm afraid of her. It's like, really? Really? You're gonna say this? It's
Yeah.
it's like it's like Twitter stan speak come to real life, and I'm like,
Yeah, I can
why?
see that.
Yeah,
I can see it. I got those vibes from him sometimes, just not enough to mind more than I appreciated like the dynamics that he brought with Savannah and stuff.
for
Yeah,
me, the most egregious one was during the reunion, which I barely count as part of the show because I usually just don't bother to watch it. But my dad was watching it, so I figured why not. Where he's like pouring a thing of champagne and he like I mean I don't know for a fact, but he overflows it like on purpose for like to get attention or something. I thought that
Yeah,
was so annoying. That
yeah.
was I was like, oh my god, dude.
and he
Something that I
does
gonna say.
he does the breaking
So
of the fourth wall too, where he's like, I can see the montage now. Insert the action music.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it gives like when
Yeah.
Kyle was like, now Jeff, it's time for you to do your apply for Survivor ad.
Yeah,
And then they do
that
the
fourth
ad.
wall stuff. Just to be clear, since I said I like fourth wall stuff, I like fourth wall stuff that reflects on the production of the show, but
Like
not
when
like
Shaheen sings the theme song.
hey viewers at home, like this is just a completely random one because I happen to have watched the season recently, but in Edge of Extinction there's like a David Wright confessional where he's like, strap in, this tribal council is going to be crazy, and then it's a completely mundane tribal council, but like that kind of like, hey viewers at home, don't forget you're watching Survivor, like I don't that type I don't care for.
oh, did we forget when Steven narrated a challenge?
Oh
we
yeah, that
did.
one. I
Oh
did
god.
forget about that. That scene was terrible. That's Jeff's fault, but that shit was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you give some grace to Steven, I don't think anyone is ever going to be able to sell that well. But
Yeah.
holy shit, that was annoying.
Yeah. On the topic of Jawan, like yeah, one dynamic that we should at least mention, even though we probably don't have to talk about it a ton because the show didn't care about it a ton, but like the Jawan Christina dynamic, like with like giving up the reward, that was like something. I don't know.
Frustratingly out of nowhere when it actually happened in the episode.
Apparently they weren't on speaking terms at the time or something.
Interesting. What I
Which is
will
like,
give
Wish they showed us.
what I will give points
It's
for
fair enough.
I'll give points for like two things here. One of them I think is a very fair observation. The other one is totally a reading too much into it thing, and that's fine. But the point that I will stand by, I do appreciate just mildly like the symmetry of how Jawan and Christina both offered each other food as comfort. Because like Christina does the thing with like the reward there, and then I think it's the next episode, maybe the one after that. But like when Christina's very like upset at one point, Jawan is like, I cheer up my friends by giving them snacks. And so he goes and does that to Christina. So there's a little parallel and symmetry there that I like. So I like that. The other thing that is like totally galaxy brain and would be seen as reading too much into it, but I'm just fine with doing that. Because someone else pointed, I'm stealing a friend's observation here, but a friend observed like, and this is it's worth mentioning the Uncle Jay thing, I guess, because a lot of fans had opinions about it. Like, I do think it's interesting that the two people that said Uncle Jay all the time were the two people that talked about the difficulty of not having a parent, like Christina's mom being, deceased, and Jawan had something about like being raised like not having a father around, I believe. So like I like that they both of the people who referred to Jeff in the terms of like an older familial relative are the two people that lack that type of thing in some way. And like again, that's not enough for me to say, oh my god, that's like a Vanuatu level confluence of how people value family. But it's like I can put you above Justin the Pizza Guy for that.
Yeah.
that's completely valid because Christina does mention that in her exit press, where she is like, this is what, like, people may not understand if they haven't lost a parent or whatever.
Mhm.
Oh, what you said, I think that is directly mentioned by Christina in
Yeah.
Exit Press.
Oh, interesting. I haven't even read that yet. Okay.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
that's a
it's-
little bit less than reading too much into it. I think that's like it's not there, but I think it's kind of
I
like
didn't see it written,
like
but
a reasonable connection to make.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in her interview with Rock's sister Nina.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that because I
Ah.
haven't seen almost any Exit Press
Wow.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, my thing with the Uncle Jeff thing is it's just it's
fine.
annoying how much everybody loves Jeff. I don't know. It's annoying how much the show feels like people trying to like Jeff and get Jeff to like them as much as possible.
Yeah, that I do agree.
I don't think it's any more annoying than when Jonathan called him Mr. Jeff or Mr. Probst or whatever it was on
Yeah.
42 or whenever anyone does something similar. I think it just is, you know.
I'd rather them get mad at Jeff. Like, I thought you
Yeah.
referred to Jonathan Penner when you said Jonathan, and I was like, that in like Cook Islands.
Oh
that's
no, I
that's
think
fine.
that I'm not a huge Jonathan Penner fan.
But like
For other reasons, but I like when he like gets pissed off at Jeff during challenges. I think that's usually fun.
Yeah.
I'd rather you do that than suck up to him.
Something that I know. Something I know that we said earlier we would touch on with Jawan, like we mentioned this with MC and said we would come back to it, is like Jawan is another one who could and should have been an exponentially more interesting character. Because it's come out in Exit Press about how like he and, I believe MC and or Christina, he had like very heated conversations with them about how like
both.
Yeah,
they thought he was enabling the black people that kept getting voted out. I think Christina thought that.
Yeah,
Said that to
exactly.
him.
Yeah, and he
Something
said
like that. I might be wrong.
Yeah, and he was comfortable with doing maybe not comfortable, but he was willing to do those votes because, as he said in his like interview about it, like I'm a broke guy and I need the money. And you get a lot of people saying as a criticism of New Era seasons, we even touched on it earlier with the whole Steven basically won because he got confidence thing, like that it seems like people aren't out there for the money anymore. So in addition to all the focus on race and diversity that the story could have brought if they freaking showed it, like that is a very real moment of someone who is like, I am out there for the money and I'm doing things I would not usually do for that, which is what like everybody is wanting that the New Era is not giving in more recent seasons. And it happened and it was filmed and they just didn't show it again.
They just didn't show like an actual genuine moral conflict.
Yeah.
Like one that could have, made the quality of the season go up by a lot.
Yeah, a really interesting thing. I would have liked to see that from Jawan because I think Jawan, I have him pretty low here. I have him pretty low on an overall ranking, but I don't think Jawan's inherently uninteresting or inherently annoying or whatever. Like, so I think there's definitely realities where Jawan's pretty good to great, and it's just not the one that we're in, unfortunately.
I think Jawan would have if we had Jawan in a less let's worship Jeff Probst, let's air these stupid one-liners. I think he could be quite good.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think then I don't know if Funky's ever been. Funky's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
Funky has said this about a few people before, and I think Jawan's another one where they're really good casting in a world where New Era Survivor doesn't exist. But they're too New Era brained to be the good casting they should be. I think Jawan might be another one of those archetypes. I think he said that about Say initially, but I think Jawan that applies to as well.
Say has other problems.
Something that I've definitely thought a lot is that I don't know how much of a hot take the first part is to be, but like I genuinely like a lot of the New Era casting, but then, and this will be less controversial here, like the show does not capitalize off of that casting and do with it what it could. And I'm detecting a theme of that here in this season as well, where a lot of the most interesting stuff that got filmed wasn't shown.
We're nearing the top half and we're like, would have been nice if we saw this.
Yeah,
I think we would have less issues with these people are too New Era brain to be as good as they should be thing because of producer prompting.
Yeah.
We'll get into the Sophie B of it all later, but they could just you could tell that the producers were just like constantly asking her about making big moves and no other questions.
Yeah, when
I feel like if you ask them, talk about what's gone on in the last 2 days or the last 6 hours, I can imagine their answers would not be this. They're like
Yeah.
you're
Uh-huh.
show producers. Yeah, I get you have to create a narrative, but
But does that narrative have to be like why Sophie B didn't hashtag blindside her closest ally? You know,
no one
maybe
asks.
not.
No one asks why Rudy didn't blindside Richard Hatch.
I was about to say, yeah, like I don't think there's any confessionals from Keith Famey in Outback about why he's not making a big move to vote out Tina, you know?
yeah, or even like much more recent seasons where you don't need like Joe talking about why he's not going to blindside Eva to make a big move on his resume.
Right.
We know that
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. It's an
Yeah.
established dynamic. Like you can just
You
show
can
us.
you can
Yeah.
explain
You show the
why.
Trace AJ scene at the reward. You show them like getting along really well, and it's like, oh yeah, of course she's not going to vote these people
No,
out.
but
They're her
she
friends.
is. No,
Mhm.
but I disagree with that in many aspects, and we will get to that when we get to Sophie B. But she is gonna blindside them. She just is never able to, which is why they include that. So we'll get to that later. But I don't think what you're saying is
Yeah, fair
completely
enough. They
valid.
are immune. Like both of them are basically immune the entire season.
And
So,
and
like,
she
what are you gonna
does
do?
and she does technically betray them by putting them in fire.
Yeah, that's also true. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, I think we've done,
Joanne.
we're
Yeah,
done with Joanne. We are
we'll
clear
move
by
on.
Yeah, we're
besides
talking about
Rudy.
Sophie
All
being
right.
We'll
Sophie
get
move.
closer to those
All right.
conversations.
So on to number 11, the first boot of the season, Nicole. Took us this
So
long
Um,
to get to
I
our
think
first boot, who
I don't have
is
anything to say.
she
I think
is
Seems fine.
she is one of the first boots of all time. She is perfectly okay existing for what she does.
I think we
And
mostly agree with that. I think there's an
let's
outlier
say
here.
oh
Kyle. Just for context for listeners, Kyle has her in 8th. Me and Mike have her in 10th, and Tipara has her at 17th. Well, I'll let Tipara have like a long spiel on her in a
Yeah,
bit. But essentially, I think this is the line of these are people above here are people we feel more positive than negative. That's or like this
I
is like
no,
this is
not for me.
well this is like a dividing line because a relatively irrelevant first boot is typically like the line of mediocrity.
yeah, that's a fair
yeah.
framework and is in line with the first thing I was going to say here. Before I get to my own number 17, I just want to say that, like, seeing those numbers where Nicole, who's like barely a character on the show, is number 8, 10, and 10 is like so damning for this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Nicole should not be like in the middle of all of these rankings. That is honestly the most dire thing I've seen on one of these so far. But yeah, yeah, should I just go on with my Nicole take because I'm probably the only one who cares
Yeah,
either way?
You
Yeah.
have strong feelings, yeah.
I will
yeah. I
say
don't think anyone else has strong feelings.
I will say, love Nicole as a casting choice. I didn't watch a lot of pre-show stuff, but was by far my pre-show favorite. Like she said something about not hanging out around a lot of like straight people, and like Reddit had strong opinions about that, and I was like, okay, she's gonna be great. But yeah, basically like there's not even that much to Nicole, so I don't have a ton to say. But just what there is, I don't like. Like there's very little Nicole content, and within the time that we spend with her, like she's shown like spitting in Jeremiah's face, and then like graphically shown throwing up. And like
Oh
I'm sure
my
they included
God,
both of those things.
bro.
They included both of those things together because like
Because
right,
they
Because
um
let's be honest, we all thought it would be funny. They were
thought
foreshadowing Sage.
wait. Mike,
all
are
right,
you
so
good? Mike, are you good?
Yes.
Okay.
all
Yes.
right,
Okay,
You might need to do some editing there, but
you want me
I
to do
will.
some editing in general?
yeah,
I will. I
I'll
will. Don't
backtrack.
worry.
Yep, I'll just
Yeah,
backtrack.
Okay.
especially because you had comments.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
backtrack. But yeah, Nicole, like, yeah, there's just not much to her, but within the very minimal time that we spent with her, like, significant percentage of the content that we get is her like spitting in Jeremiah's face and like graphically being shown throwing up. And I'm sure they included those things as like an editorial like parallel, but the point of that parallel is like, haha, funny, gross bodily things. She's spitting and puking in an episode where we also had like a fart joke from Steven, like 3 gross things from Sage, and that would prove to be like a running theme of the season. Like something that I have Nicole ranked very low overall, and something that I kept thinking and saying during the season is like basically a problem with a character becomes more of a problem if it's also a problem with the season. The way that someone from Cook Islands who's unmemorable is worse than someone from Vanuatu who's not memorable, because there's a lot more unmemorable stuff in Cook Islands. Similarly with Nicole, I ranked really low out of the gate. I was like, if the season stops being disgusting and doing gross bodily things because haha that's funny for children, then like Nicole will probably move up for me, because then she's like an outlier and not establishing this trend. But then as the episodes went on, we keep getting more and more stuff about blackheads and poop and all this disgusting stuff. So she was used early on to introduce a pattern within the season of gross bodily things being haha funny that I was my least favorite thing about the season. And that's all that I got. Great casting choice though.
Yeah, it's like none of these things are inherent to Nicole, because if you listen to Exit Press, Jeremiah asked her to do that.
Yeah.
And like throwing up is just a thing that happens to your body when you go. Like tons of people have thrown up. Who's the first? The first example I can think of is Tanya Vance in Thailand.
Ramona does, I think, episode 1. So
it's like this is a thing that's happened forever, and it's never, as far as I can remember, shown as graphically as Nicole's is.
Yeah. There's one other one I can think of, but I don't need to list all the graphic ones. But yeah, I agree. This is like the second most graphic one I think we've seen.
The best throwing up scene in all of Survivor is when Rupert's trying to talk strategy to Michelle.
I know.
And she's just throwing up in the background.
Yeah. And it's like and I'm not ranking any, like, even Michelle, who barely gets shown that much during Pearl Islands, I'm not ranking like near the bottom of the cast because, oh, she threw up and that's gross. But it's like with Nicole, we get a lot of that type of thing in the season, and like the fact that it's shown twice shows there's a deliberate intention by the producers to focus on that, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? So that's what I got.
Like when
also
she
with
talks,
Michelle, the joke isn't that she's throwing up. The joke is that Rupert is talking to her while she is not in any place to be talking about anything.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a better function to it.
And like, yeah, she is, and then what she gets other than that is like some like, like you're the eldest daughter, you're like, I don't know, you whatever, you investigate money laundering or whatever. But then the other aspect to her is pathetic, I just fell on my ass, which is another kind of joke. It kind of just sets her up as a joke, which a lot of first boots, to be fair, are.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get someone invested in somebody knowing that they will only be in that one episode and they get voted out at the end of it. I think it is a lot easier to do the Jelinski thing where you're like, well, this guy gets voted out immediately, so just point and laugh at him. You know,
well,
it is easier.
It is deserved for Jelinski.
It's easy to point and laugh at Jelinski. Yeah. You know, I'm sure he's aware that if you're going to quit everything you try on the show.
I think Jelinski gets it. To be at this point, he's not.
I'd hope he's in on the joke. It's not
I think he knows he was pathetic.
Since we're on Jelinski now, do we have anything else on Nicole, or no? Are we already done?
I think we're done.
I like Jelinski a lot more.
I probably am taking Nicole, to be honest.
And I will just say, even though this has come up again, so it's like totally like beating a dead horse at this point, Nicole is the definition of one of those ones where I'm like, great casting choice, nothing wrong with you personally. I don't like what the show did with you.
Yeah, tons of first boots are like that as well. It's like she never really got a chance to become more than what she is.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Right, next up, it is Christina.
She also feels like she never gets a chance to become anything, even though she is in every episode of the show.
So is this just not? This is just their attempt at reminding us that Suri exists for season 50, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I love her jury question. I think that's the best thing that happens once Shannon goes home.
There's like
it's the best thing she does.
The best thing she does. It's great. It's no Penny Ramsey.
She's a nice she is a nice person. She's like you can tell like how innocent and like just out of her element mom. Like you know exactly what she is, and she does exactly what she's meant to do. Like I'm a social nerd. I bring 0 survival skills. I can't.
Apparently not. Apparently she's great at making the fire.
Okay, no. In the first episode, I have a note that says it's on her bucket list to start the fire, and it's harder than I thought.
Okay, well, I guess that's almost foreshadowing.
I feel like that almost to me loses her points as a character because then we don't ever see the process of going from that to apparently being the single best one at it until it's immediately relevant in the
Yeah,
finale.
that's in the premiere, and I'm not sure the context of harder than I thought. It could be starting the fire was harder than I thought, or living on the island is harder than I thought. I'm not sure which one that is. But it's said in a confessional, so there's not really a ton of context. And then she gets a bit of stuff where she bonds with Shannon and like really buys into Shannon's thing, which it's like it's like it's showing that like innocent mom friendship kind of thing. And then she just goes into this like spiral of failing at challenges. She screams at the one challenge, which is like I feel like that is I don't buy that it's like a complete like mugging for the camera response that some people might, and then we get completely out of nowhere. I hate Savannah, and according to Exit Press, there's a lot more with that conversation where like it's like it apparently starts.
Yeah, it was like a smoke screen or something, is what I heard.
It's no like remember like the scene where Savannah is like where she like confronts Christina and is like, "Who are you voting for?" Apparently, they were like having a personal conversation before that, and then Savannah just abruptly cuts to, "So who are you voting for?"
Oh, interesting. I wish
Which-
we.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about their
Wow.
fight at Tribal, which was apparently a smoke screen for.
How big is the list of things I wish we saw this season? That sounds way more
good
interesting.
God.
I think every season has these things. To be fair,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's
more
just-
frustrating in a season where the things
That is-
they are actually showing aren't very interesting. So now
It's
you're like,
I think the
why didn't
biggest
you show
issue
this
is
stuff?
Christina is maybe like 4 or 5 things that are quite good. They're all incongruous. They're like they don't make sense together, and then in between there's nothing linking them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually,
Yeah.
even though I got her number 4, and once again, I'm just going to maybe provide context with who that puts her near on my overall kind of ranking, because it's not as high as it might seem. But I actually pretty much agree with that. Like, Christina's just like a amalgamation of like loosely connected, if at all, character traits that like aren't really, they don't coalesce into anything. But I like each one of those things individually, and I found them all fun to watch individually. So like I could always count on Christina to make an episode a little better while she was shown, even if it didn't like blend into anything. So she's not this grand character. Like ultimately, every time that Christina was shown doing something, it made that episode better to me. Pretty much. So like that's enough for me to be like, yeah, sure, you're in between Mariah from 46 and Stephanie, the first boot of 48 on my ranking. Like, sure, you were kind of good. Like,
Yeah.
she was a fine, inconsistent, but fine supporting character for me. Going back to the jury question, because the jury question was great, and it also ties in, I think it ties in with some other stuff about her. I think it's appropriate that, like, the person who asked that question about name our relatives is the one who, like, talked about her relative the most in the episodes of anybody on the season. So I feel like they kind of somewhat set that up because, like, if you're asked, hey, who won Survivor 49, talks the most about a specific relative and like really values that relative, you're going to name Christina, obviously. I like that she's the one that got to ask that question. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost storytelling.
Yeah, right. Almost. If you really want to squint and stretch even more than I kind of am, but like, it is interesting that like she specifically asked, "Oh, can you name them?" And there's a big moment where she yells out her mother's name at the end of a challenge. So like, I think it's understandable that Christina specifically, and this is just like further context behind a moment we already agree is good in the jury question. It makes sense that Christina specifically would prioritize, do you know the names of our relatives?
Yeah.
There's something I think we all recognize there's something there, and that's why she is as high as she is. And she doesn't I don't think she has any like explicitly really like the Uncle Jay thing. I think we all understand is like it's not like I don't know what the word is, but it's not like super bad. And like I understand the context behind it.
Fine.
And like
Yeah.
I understand. I think I understand everything about what they were trying to do here. I just don't think it really sticks the landing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I definitely agree she's not very well executed. I will note that number 4 puts her below Jason for me still.
Yeah. It's like she would fit in better if they weren't doing the whole new era strategy thing with the edit.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
if they
yeah.
were like fully fleshing out these characters as characters instead of chess pieces in a board game, she would be a lot better.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
For sure.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
also just a lot of it feels. I mean, her jury question aside, there was just some stuff that made it be like, oh, Survivor. Oh, this is more about personal journeys to people than $1 million. Oh, you know?
I think that makes sense for Christina, but it kind of just again like it's not exactly infantilization, but it's not treating your cast like adults who can do things.
Yeah, I agree.
Like even if she physically can't do these things, and that is a reflection of a lot of people in America that probably aren't going to do super well at a challenge, but like it's still like, and I get the personal growth aspect of it, but it's like it's also doesn't feel quite right.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I feel like time is going to be kind to Christina, not by a ton, but I feel like maybe in hindsight she'll move up a little bit for people. I don't know because they don't do anything with it, but there's some good stuff there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can see her. If we were doing this ranking in like a year, I could see her moving up to like number 8 or 7 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the
I think
consensus will go from it's frustrating how little screen time she gets to like, yeah, Christina's fine.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like I wish we got better from her, but my focus is on enjoying what we got when we did see her, which I mean I can't even say that for like half of this cast. Well,
I think
Eh,
I think she'll go up
I
over
did
the.
not. I did not adore her.
There's a couple relatively unmemorable pre-mergers I think will get dropped below her personally.
Yeah. Like
Mhm.
when you're watching the season live, you remember Matt, but I doubt we'll remember like Matt in I don't know, a month.
yeah.
Do we
But as
I
far
remember
as
Matt now?
remember.
Not
No,
really.
and
as far as
he spoiler alert, he's not coming up for a minute.
oh
But
wow.
you Wiz,
This
Yeah.
season.
And what I will just
Gerald?
say, as far as the topic, real quick, of unmemorable pre-mergers go, Jason top 3 is sticking. That opinion's not falling. Okay, sorry, continue.
next up is. Oh no, wait, it is Matt.
Oh,
Oh,
it's Matt.
Liar?
I
I
thought
have
he
him fifth
I
because
thought
this
he
cast is so bad that a white guy with dreads who looks funny, is
He's from
that's bad enough.
Wyandanch, New York, right?
no, that was we thought he was. Turns out he was from Utah. But it was like
Easy
you know,
mistake to make.
Yeah, they're right next to each other. Again, no, the cast is just so bad that it's his
Wyandanch
nothing
Matt.
is more something than most people's nothing is. If
His
that makes
boot episode his
He's
boot episode is told well, you know.
he's
Yeah,
It's
I
fine.
just
guess.
a very solidly done boot episode, and he's a role filler, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he
I'd
he
say he's very much quite okay and not unacceptable whatsoever at being a role filler.
he's on Hina. The tribe doesn't matter. He's the first like casualty in Jawan's horror movie or war or whatever it is in that kind of fizzles. He gets a bit of content in what responding to what I've described as Jason's nerd shit. Um, and
Yeah,
then
I do like that there's someone there who's like, I don't know what this bullshit is.
and
I
then
think that is
and then
fun.
like he's the guy who like Steven's like this guy really actually knows how to make fire. He's just letting us fuck it up over and over again, and then he'll fix our issue once he's realized we can't do it. Like he's the
I
one guy who would have killed a chicken probably on this
Yeah.
cast. Maybe
I
Jake. I think Jake would have. Annie might have.
I feel like Nicole would have.
yeah.
Isn't
A
Nicole?
biased
Also
thing.
I
I
I
don't know if it's
forget
Oh, if
just
what
the
Nicole's
way.
he
vegan, then maybe not.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I um
She just seems
I
like a tough
forgot
type of no nonsense person.
I forgot what this was in response to, but I liked when he said, "I have that effect on people."
Hmm.
It's like,
Class of
like
49. Even the good things are extremely unmemorable.
Yeah.
I've got very little to say on Matt. I mean, I guess I kind of like that they used disliking Sandra as a reason to dunk on someone in their boot episode.
That's true. Yeah,
Like,
I do enjoy that.
I pulled up. This is such a random, minute thing to have be the first thing where I looked up a specific quote in this whole podcast because it's not that big a deal of a quote. But something that I remember just bothering me is like you look at Matt and just off of like casting photo vibes, you're like, this guy is not gonna. In as much as new era contestants blend together, this guy doesn't seem like he's going to do that. He doesn't seem like he's going to be like super fan who's here to play hard and impress Jeff Probst. You know, he seems like he might be more of like a kind of old school casting choice. But like in episode 2, he gets like a confessional where he talks about how like, I'm not scared to go on a journey. I'm here to play. I'm here to take a chance. And it's like great. That confessional could be delivered by anybody else. There's not actually like interesting substance to this guy the way I hoped there would be. In terms of
I mean, I'm sure there is. It's just not in the episodes. Yeah.
in terms of what we're seeing on the show.
And I think if he gets one of those Steven analogies where he's like, I work at the airport. Let's call our airplanes have things called the section. Let's call our alliance the section. It's like,
Oh god, I remember thinking that was so annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like he does not live up to what I would expect from his casting photo, which I mean in a way, he's probably somewhat of like a better, more competent, or at least more like I think he's probably a more likable human being and maybe better Survivor player than what I might have like expected originally. I expected him to be a kind of a wacky early boot, and instead he wasn't early boot, but was just kind of this guy.
He wasn't overplaying, well, he was a swap fucked overplaying early boot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that apparently I don't know if this happened for y'all. I don't watch with closed captioning, but in closed captioning, when he was like talking bad about Sandra in his boot tribal council, I guess for a lot of people it said Xander at the bottom of the screen instead of Sandra. So I saw a lot of people commenting, why is Xander out here catching strays? So I don't know. That's funny. That's funnier to me than anything else about his time on the show. So you know.
Yeah. No, my dad is hard of hearing, so I was watching with closed captions, and he was like, "Who the fuck is Xander?"
Yeah. What I got.
I think that's about all we call him, Matt.
Yeah.
I think this is another like mediocrity line character.
Oh, I guess my last thing is he and Savannah had a scene that I thought set up Savannah well. Like it set up her like I can like ask questions and get to the bottom of things. Like I like that scene more for Savannah reasons than Matt reasons. But hey, he was on the receiving end of it, so there's that.
Yeah, he at least got to be in the scene when it happened.
We'll take it. It's
Most
49.
of these people aren't in any good scenes, so
It's 49. We'll take what we can get and move on to number 8.
Absolutely. And at number 8, we have Yellow Sophie Segretti.
Would have been cool if we got to see her.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like good casting.
She was fun in the post merge. Like I never disliked her.
No, me
Not at
neither.
all. I liked what we got out of her for the most part. It's just for 6 episodes. What did we get out of her? Not a damn thing.
She got a shit. The only content she got was generally about food.
One of the greatest moments in all of New Era, where Jeff says worth playing for her, and she's like, "Are you kidding? Give us real food. Why are we getting like fruit and shit?"
That was great. I loved it.
Honestly,
I was on.
That was my favorite.
She would honestly probably be this high if that was all she got.
I would honestly, if this is gonna be such a garbage take, if that was all that she got, I would actually rank her higher genuinely, because that would just be a surreal Survivor character. But then in the post merge, for me, I honestly liked her more when she was this like supporting character who just like complained about the reward and like stole Sophie's name, you know. And then like in the
I think supporting character is generous to describe pre-merge Sophie.
Yeah, that's fair. Like a very
she's
such a niche character that's bizarre.
She's
but, like,
purple. She gets the purple Kelly edit for like 7 episodes.
Yeah.
And, like I feel like if she just went out at the merge or something, like she just complains about the reward, says that her name is Sophie and the other one can go by Soph, and like gets voted out soon after that, that would leave me like, who the fuck was that character? But like in a funny way that kind of works. But then in the post merge, she just blends into all of like the strategy talk for me.
I think she's better at it than most people, though.
I agree with that. There's like a tenacity to her that I liked, but it never really crystallized into like anything narratively.
Like she sells like like I thought this was transitioning into one of those. Oh, this is her backstory. She never gets one of those, but she starts talking about her college makeup class and learning how to contour and like talking about gluing feathers to her face, and it's like one of the weirdest out of context scenes that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? But it's like I think she sells strategy better than pretty much anyone else on this cast. Like straight raw strategy.
Yeah, there's like
we
yeah,
need to vote for this person. Shit, that's so like uninteresting. She can deliver it in a way where it's not like compelling, but it's watchable enough. You know?
yeah, she's a good narrator for sure. I had something I forgot. Oh yeah, I guess like if she went out more around the merge and was kind of this like joke character that just kind of like I don't know, like gets the content like she got for the first half of the season, then I could understand the first half of her edit more. But when she like goes out pretty late in the game for being this giant threat, it makes the pre-merge retroactively more frustrating for me. It
Yeah,
makes it like this classic case and less extreme in hers, but there's like the classic Cambodia Kelly Wigglesworth case of or like Chelsea Townsend case of like it's always a woman too. Like woman gets no airtime, then is suddenly described as a threat right when they're about to go home. And Sophie, it wasn't as extreme as that, but it feels fundamentally similar. Where like if a woman goes out mid jury as a social threat, then the producers don't really care about telling her story.
I do want to say one point is like if you watch the first challenge like closely, like or any of the early Hina challenges, she's kind of like leading them, and like you have to be closely watching the challenges for that. So it's a little too reading into it to be like, oh, she's a physical threat who's making Hina win challenges, and like
I think that's
the
less
whole
in the episode and more a thing that was happening that they couldn't not show. But if it's never highlighted outside of the challenges, it's like
that's like way reading into like the physical threat of her character, which
yeah.
Exactly.
Which does become relevant later on.
It is.
I love
and I do like the general competitiveness between Sophie and Savannah. I mean, they were the only two like winning challenges at all. And
yeah, that
like,
was decent. That injected more entertainment.
you could tell that there was like the two of them were very competitive against each other for the entire post merge.
Yeah,
So
only the S names won those challenges. Yeah,
that put more entertainment value into challenges than what I usually get out of them for sure. Like
yeah, I was really pulling for Savannah to break the comp record.
Yeah, that would have been great, but we'll get there with Savannah. But yeah, I liked Savannah versus Sophie in challenges. That was more fun to me than a lot of the challenges are. Is that all we got?
I think that's all we have to say on Sophie.
She's like fairly prominent for like the post merge, and that's all we got. All right, yeah. Sorry, Sophie. Wish you got more airtime early on.
Yeah, I liked her as a casting choice. I wish there was more.
Good narrator.
Every person that wins an individual challenge this season starts with an S.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun fact. I like that.
All right.
Well, everyone on this cast starts with an S.
Number 7. Oh, this is going to be a fun segment. We have...
Yeah, there's gonna be more of a debate. We were talking before this that I think both me and Tipara were saying that we honestly should like lower him.
Yeah.
Okay, so for context for listeners, this is Jake.
This is Jake Latimer.
So Kyle has him at 11, Tipara has him at 12, Mike has him at 3, and I have him at 5. So there's two very clear groupings this goes into. So Kyle, if you want to explain your
the difference is just I think the shoe bandit thing is really annoying, like phony forced screen time stuff, and I think you guys just don't. I think that's the main thing.
Okay,
yeah, I think it's funny. I think it's funny. And I know it's not like a huge whatever kind of thing, but I think the fact that he does the shoe bandit thing and then gets bit in the foot, I think that's funny.
I just could not care less about something. To be honest,
so like, Kyle, this is across the board with you. You don't like the shticks. You don't like when they come into it with like, oh, I'm gonna do this generally, and I'm like, I can't stand that. It's like I don't give a shit. You can do whatever the fuck you want. If it's entertaining, it's entertaining. I'm not gonna read into it. I mean, I can obviously tell Jake planned to do this, especially because it happens episode 1. It's not like, I'm Holly Hoffman and I drown a pair of shoes and I'm gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, as the fellow Jake disliker here, I just sorry, I blinked for a second. Yeah, for me, I don't even feel like I'm reading into it, and I just don't find it entertaining. Like the guy just like he looks at the camera and is like, so my thing is, if he just took the shoes and that was like the shtick, I could honestly kind of be fine with that or find it to be fun or funny or whatever. Like that could stir up tension around camp. So like, sure, that could be interesting. But like the literally saying multiple times, "I'm the famous shoe bandit of Survivor 49," that makes it feel, as someone who doesn't tend to feel this way a lot, I haven't attributed it to like Jawan or Christina or some others as much as people might, but like that just feels very much like pandering to the camera, playing for airtime, wanting to get on Survivor 50 in the specific context of 49 maybe. And I just don't
Yeah.
like it. I just feel I just don't like it.
This is, I don't know if this is like so specific or stupid, but I honestly think just his goofy look and his super goofy accent just help sell it for me.
I don't
I
think he has
don't
a
think
goofy accent. I
I
think he's
don't
just
think
Canadian, man.
I don't think he has a goofy accent, but also I am Canadian, so like I do know people who speak like that.
Yeah, if he didn't refer to himself in the third person for doing it multiple times, and also like in a premiere where Rizzo also refers to himself in the third person with his shtick repeatedly, so it kind of goes into like how I said, like, Nicole, I wouldn't mind her as much if we didn't get all this other gross stuff. Like Jake, I wouldn't mind that as much if it wasn't within his season where it feels like there's this kind of pattern of like, oh hey, looking into the camera, here's my character that you should remember in case they bring me back next time. I don't know. I
Yeah,
will say
it does feel like I
yeah.
I don't know, like just stuff for kids to be like, oh, remember the guy that stole shoes? He was pretty wacky.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
say that I do genuinely, I do agree with. I really, really like the fact that the shoe bandit gets bit on the foot. I have a number 12. I probably would have had a number 16 otherwise. Looking at like my all-time ranking, I think that genuinely boosts him at least like 50 spots to me, and I'm surprised it's not more. I do really like the like. I don't know if irony is the right word. The like cosmic, I don't want to call it justice when it was an injury, but like narratively speaking, that's an appropriate way for him to go out in an absolutely absurdly specific way. And so I like that. That's funny. That
Yeah.
boosts him massively for
Okay,
me.
okay, so transitioning to that, the medevac. It's one of the
Yeah.
stranger medevacs of all time.
That's
And,
my
like,
other big problem with Jake, yeah.
I think
I-
like what they're trying to do with it is like, oh, this is a guy who's like a family man. His wife's giving birth, which is really awkward that he's out here. But then you connect that with his dad. This is the last time he'll see him on the show, and like, sure, you'll see your kid again, but your dad will never see you on the show, and all of that stuff. It's like interesting, and the fact he gets medevac is kind of like is made to be this like emotional, sad moment, and I think it hits in certain ways, but it doesn't defeat the fact the medevac's still incredibly awkward and not well told.
Yeah,
Like-
because they make sure to tell
Like
you
medically
that
not well
he'll
told.
be fine, and then they also are like, but he has to be pulled. And I found it to be very like, if he's fine, why does he have to be pulled? What has happened? I didn't really follow.
I did like how they went about it like before that moment though.
Yeah, I gotta say,
Like, that is good fourth wall breaking.
Season 49, episode 3 should go down in history as one of the most unique and weirdest Survivor episodes ever. I don't know about best or worst, but definitely one of the most unique and weirdest. At least for the medevac stuff. The rest of it is like one of the most boring episodes. But
the
like
rest of it is just like we have to vote. It's pretty Brad Boot 41 coded.
Yeah, but the medevac stuff, I completely agree with everything everyone said. I love the fourth wall aspect of it. I think that that's super, super interesting. But the actual fact of his evacuation is not explained well to the audience. Like it's enough for me to wonder. Like I'm not saying this is the case, but it's enough to make me wonder, given the weird, inconsistent explanations. Like if like off camera, he was like, hey, like I want to get back to my kid about like I want to get back to my kid. I don't want to risk this. Can you pull me from the game and make it look like a medevac? Like that, something like that wouldn't surprise me. I just feel like there's something we didn't see. I don't know.
Yeah, I've had similar thoughts about it as well.
I've seen other people even go down the more conspiratorial lens of thinking that like getting the vibe, and I don't remember their textual support for it. They had specific quotes, but I don't remember that like they got the vibe that Jake was like threatening to sue or something if they kept him in, like based on things he said. I don't know. I feel like there's something we didn't see, whatever it is.
It just feels. I mean, even if there's nothing, it shouldn't read that weird. That shouldn't be the viewer's reaction to a medical evacuation for the guy who's playing and his wife is pregnant and he wants to like be there for the last time his dad can ever watch the show and like all these things that should be like really sweet and heartwarming. It shouldn't be like, wait, what the fuck is happening? Why is he going home? That should not be a viewer's reaction.
And I guess I will add, because I mentioned how like there is at least speculation or some theory about whether he kind of told them to pull him. Like, I will just add, in case anyone got 2.5 hours into like listening to this without, being aware of this, like, I don't give a shit if someone like quits Survivor. Everyone should quit Survivor like every season. That's awesome and based. Most quits are great TV. So I'm not trying to be like, oh, is Jake actually like a quitter? Like, I think people removing themselves from the game is interesting and awesome television almost every time. So like, that's not to dunk on Jake. It's just like it
Yeah,
ties
it's just,
into
is
weird.
that what happened? Yeah.
The depiction is weird. I also shoot, I had something and I blanked. I had another point, but I don't immediately remember it. I'll come back to
The
it.
shoe bandit shtick is basically, I mean, my main thing is that the shoe bandit thing, it's like, I don't see how that
Oh.
makes him any better than like Tarzan
That
from
actually
One
kind of
World.
was.
It's such a like.
That was adjacent to my point. I also, again, tying in with this thing that I've said about a couple characters now, where like a character having a flaw is worse if other characters in the season as a whole have similar flaws. Like Jake, like the whole like, oh, I'm stealing shoes, haha, funny, wacky shtick lands even less for me on a season that has a lot of just like comedy that doesn't land with me. Not just the gross out toilet stuff, but like the boy band scene, the chicken scene I mentioned, like the space fest one. There's just a lot of scenes that are meant to be funny that do not connect with me at all, and that makes the shoe bandit thing more frustrating to me than if it was on like a season that I otherwise thought was really good.
This is the kind of stuff that would have been a secret scene clip years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the three boys in a bench thing. Now that we brought it up, even though we haven't previously, I don't know. I do genuinely like Rizzo on it, but I hate Steven on it, which is a really weird contrast to two people singing the same thing. But
I thought it was kind of cute when the final three said 3 girls on the beach or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little cute, but that's the most I ever got out of it. I mostly found it pretty annoying.
I think Rizzo's charming with it, but Steven is like, oh my god, like I can't rap, someone else take over. It's like this. It's like just lean into it, lean into the joke, man. Like Rizzo's leaning into it, and he just can't lean into the joke. He has to make a self-deprecating joke. But okay, let's get off Steven. Not
reheating Gabriel K's nachos, but anyways, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Rizzo, it's a lot less annoying than
what I will.
Rizzo feels more sincere.
What I will say about Jake is that his relationship with Alex is pretty funny. Because in confessionals, he has to specify that they're not close in a gay way, and then he does the scissoring motion, and he's like, not this.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
I can see the comedy of it. To me, it just felt like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know, like maybe just let the two like masculine dudes just be friends and not be like, oh, is it a gay thing? I don't know. It felt a little regressive and cringe to me.
But like Alex, you can tell. But I think it does sort of work because Alex is shown to be like uncomfortable with like masculinity.
Yeah.
I think there is some, like us with a lot of New Era seasons we criticize heavily, there's something there that I think just doesn't land. It's just, for whatever reason, it's so buried under other stuff that for whatever reason they think they have to include.
Yeah. I will say that Jake, like, just, I don't know, Jake is definitely, in terms of how his story plays out and like the events that it consists of, like, one of the most unique Survivor characters and stories ever. Like, definitely one of the, like, I don't mean this negatively about him, but just in terms of the events that happen, one of the weirdest characters ever. The Jake experience is just kind of a surreal fever dream. So I get the logic.
That's why I think he's really good.
Yeah, I can get the logic behind putting him higher. I think if I just didn't dislike the shtick so much, or if it was on like a good season, then that would elevate him for me. But it's like, this is what you're relying on for comedy in this season, and that hurts. But like, if you put him on like Gabon or Nicaragua and give him the exact same story, I probably put him at least, well, relative to those casts lower, but I'd have him higher in general.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right,
I think it's
next up, we have another character that is unfortunately just such a frustrating character to talk about. Oh, what did they do to you, Sophie?
Yeah, I really liked her in the first few episodes. I think as the show goes on, there's less and less that she is allowed to be. And then, I mean, it's the very, like, second place finisher edit where it's like, you can have a fun personality, but at the end of the day, you have to be satisfied with the winner. And so by the time it is, like, for the back half of the season when you're getting to the jury votes, it has to be like they just kind of talk about strategy and that's it, and they don't really do anything. It's the same thing with like I had similar problems with like Eva and Sam and Charlie and Austin. I mean, like it goes on and on.
Yeah, I think she's a good casting choice. She's a good speaker. I think that there's some fun stuff with her early on, like when she like uses as her reason to trust her that she's like never cheated. There's some fun stuff there. But yeah, the whole back end of the season, like I'm genuinely interested to like look through confessional transcripts. I'm so curious what percentage of Sophie confessionals include the phrase big move, because I feel like it's a really high percentage. Like, and that's just like
Mm.
formulaic, and you can substitute her in the back end of the season with so many other characters and have it be interchangeable. Because like the motivations of I want to make a big move and build my resume, it's like there's a lot more we could say about the concept of that, but at the very least, it's pretty interchangeable with a ton of other stuff on the show.
thing that puts me higher on her is she sells it well, and I think I put a big thing on that. Like, if you can sell it well, I don't mind strategy, and I don't think some like Kyle and Tipara
She's a
view
good
it in
personality.
exactly the same way. Like, she's a good personality, and like I do like the scene where the three of them are having their reward, and that like makes her like not like that's how they frame her not taking Rizzo's idol, even though that may not be reality. Like, I think that is decent, and like the problem, like she disappears for a bunch of episodes, which I could read into it as okay, so she's trying to be underestimated, she's trying to be quiet, she's trying to be a number, not be a target, da da da. Like, and then if she comes alive and like makes her move, she could have won. I think that's what they're trying to do, but ultimately Savannah foils her by winning immunity. I think
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to do, but it's like I like her. I like her personality. It's just another missed storyline.
I'm with Lights fully on that. And I think in a vacuum, she has a good story. It's just again the edit does not pull it together the way it should be pulled together.
Yeah, I also like
Even though I think, in general, this season would be a lot worse if Sophie was not on it.
yeah.
Well, it depends who is there. Like, you can't. Is she above replacement level? Yeah. Could she have been? Are there better versions of Sophie? Also, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
I also think there's better versions of literally Sophie. She's another like new era brand one where I think if you put her on season like not 39, I was about to say 39 because I meant like before new era, but maybe not that one. But put her on like David vs. Goliath. I think she's a lot better on David vs. Goliath, for example.
And she apparently almost got on Edge of Extinction.
Yeah, she'd be better on there. That season already has a pretty strong female cast. I don't know who I'd compare, but
Sophie B is a Lid Spillman find.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the fact
she's a good find, but she
Sophie
just
B
doesn't
was,
really crystallize into anything other than like strategy shit. I don't care about.
I'd like to see Sophie B and like Victoria in an alliance. That'd be some good energy. But also just for context for listeners who can't see the rankings, because I feel like it's worth noting we got a little bit of a split here where Lights and Mike got our number 4, Kyle has her 9, I have her 13, which I also say to mention that like Sophie as a casting choice, I would agree is definitely above replacement level, but like Sophie as a character that we got, I would have significantly below replacement level. I just don't think that what we got of her was good. Like one thing, to go back to like the her not taking Rizzo's idol thing, I didn't really like get the point of that as like a game-ending blunder because of the way the show always framed it. The show framed it primarily as like, if I take Rizzo's idol, I have guaranteed passage into this round. But then she kept surviving all of those rounds anyway, so like it didn't matter.
That's
the way
not
that the show framed it.
Sorry, just to correct. Like, I don't think that was necessarily my argument. I think my argument is, if she was able to vote, so if she was able to flip on Savannah at 5. That was where she wanted to flip the game. And by having Rizzo's idol, she's able to flip the game there because she can either vote Rizzo or Savannah out at 5. Whereas with what we have here is she can't vote either of them out and she's stuck with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I don't know that the show conveyed that as well to me as it could have, but maybe I'm mistaken.
Hmm.
It definitely made sense that she just there was never a time for her physically to be able to get it done. And
Yeah.
I think that is a big problem with
the
the
one time
season.
she could have Sage ruined that. So
I
Yeah,
think that
and-
is a big problem with the season, is that it just feels like Savannah and Rizzo are just never. It's just never possible to really target them. So it is a lot like the actual viewing experience. You're just like, maybe this is because I mean I don't know. I was gonna say maybe this is because of season 50 and like knowing they're there, but also a season that relies solely on suspense isn't gonna be good either way.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that it never feels like a realistic possibility
Right.
because it just makes it a lot more like all the Sophie stuff about like, oh, am I gonna flip on Rizzo? It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
So why am I watching that? Like,
yeah,
it is
Yeah,
just like
if she doesn't have
it's not Mitch, but
if she doesn't have the chance
it's not
to do
Mitch, but it kind of is Mitch. She's just more likable and more
she-
compelling.
if she doesn't have the
Not more
chance to do
likable.
it,
Mitch
then
is
just
likable
focus
enough.
on it.
He's just
If she doesn't have the
better
chance to do it, then just
confessionals.
focus on it so much. I'm higher on. There's a character that Sophie is, in my opinion, similar to, and in my opinion, a worse version of. That a lot of people are way lower than I am. So without going in the weeds on that character, but like to me, I feel the way about her content in the later episodes the way a lot of people feel about Laurel from Ghost Island. Like
Mm.
we're just cutting to you to talk
No.
about. We're just cutting to you to talk about whether or not you're going to make a big move that doesn't happen, and then I just feel like my time was wasted on this. I don't know. Without going into
I
Laurel,
kind
specifically,
of
Sophie,
agree with that. I think she's a lot more charismatic than Laurel. And I
I
think Savannah and Rizzo are a lot more charismatic than Wendell and Dominic, so it's less
Yeah,
frustrating and
definitely.
less annoying. But I do agree that it is a lot of like, ooh, am I gonna flip? And then no, they don't.
Yeah,
and
but
it's like,
I
why didn't-
think
it is a
why didn't
little
send the
different
episode?
because Laurel and Mitch could have. Sophie never could have.
When would
To me-
Laurel couldn't have really. They had idols.
there
I don't know.
no,
What I'm
if
always
there's
saying
a
today.
million times Laurel could have flipped on them, and they
Yeah.
would never have known if Laurel.
Yeah,
could
she
have,
for sure could. Yeah, the Kellen boot for sure. She
I
could've
guess
just
my
done that.
thing is I agree that Sophie like didn't have as much of a chance to, but to me that makes it more frustrating that we're spending that much time on it. Like at least with like I mean it's frustrating in different ways either way, but like I guess for me I'm not too frustrated by game decisions the players make anyway. So like I don't mind as much that like Mitch or Laurel like failed to do it or whatever. I just mind that the airtime is being wasted on it, which to me is just as bad whether it's like
But-
the character doesn't do it or they don't have the chance.
Okay, so I think it's worse with Mitch and Laurel significantly because there's so many times like Laurel's flip on them is built up even like in the Morgan boot, which is the third episode of the season, and in the third episode of this season, Sophie hasn't even met Savannah and Rizzo. Like Sophie's flipping only really gets brought up in the last 2 or 3 episodes. And I think that's a bit of recency bias of the fact we just saw those episodes. When we're thinking about Laurel or Mitch, we're thinking about the entirety of the season a bit more.
Yeah,
I do think that there is like a big gap. Again, it's the like second place that goes back to Ken McNichol, where it's like they're fun and there's a gap in screen time, and then they are like frustrating, not very good at strategy, like that type of thing.
Yeah, and I just think that the confessionals that she got near the end, even aside from the flipping or not flipping thing, just the content of it and the way it was framed of like make big moves for my resume. It's like you could that's copy pasted from a ton of other confessionals that people had. You know, it's just there's nothing about it to grab me essentially.
Yeah.
Again, good casting choice though. I'm gonna imagine the world where she was on Edge of Extinction. That could have been pretty good.
Yeah. Cut a Big Wendy or something. Put her there.
She is totally the replacement for Big Wendy.
I
Perfectly.
feel like she would be.
She'd be 21 and like
Yeah, young, like spunky girl. I don't know.
I would have guessed Victoria, but I don't know.
Maybe
I
Victoria.
wanted to see them together.
I think it's absolutely Victoria.
Yeah.
Wait, Wendy was only 25. Wow, I thought she was like mid-30s.
Do we got any more on Sophie B? Do we think, or should we move on to top five, baby? Top five.
Yeah.
All right, top five, baby, top five.
Fucking Annie's still in this.
We have Nate.
I'm
You
surprised
liked Nate when
Sophie's
I thought
below
his
Nate.
story would go somewhere.
Yeah.
I really
So
liked when I thought that he would have something to do. But then
yeah.
he just
I
kind of
find
gets unceremoniously voted out at the merge, and it's
He
like, oh, it's
he's the
building for nothing.
he's the classic dodge the idol merge boot. This has been a thing since like the I think the 30s. Like Michelle Schubert is one of these. Haley is one of these. Um, Haley both seasons, to be honest, is kind of one of these.
Mm.
Jessica Johnston. Like it's the same role that's typically a young woman, but Nate is apparently that is like the least likely person to have to. I'm surprised this wasn't Sophie B, but based on that archetype, but
So yeah, my vibes on Nate are I think that he's a good casting, and just for listeners, we're very much in alignment on Nate. We've got one person who has him sixth, and the rest of us all at eighth for him, so pretty in agreement. But I think Nate is like an interesting casting choice, a pretty unique one within this cast, who clearly had like some kind of fun interactions with other people where he could play off of them well. And also when his picture came up just now, I was like, oh my god, this guy was on the season. I totally forgot that. Like there's nothing to him narratively, unfortunately.
I like
Yeah,
his
like
his
he's
boot
the
is
dad.
awful. His boot's awful. I like watching him. I think he's a cool guy. Can cut a confessional pretty good. Glad he
Oh,
was there. You know.
he has a confessional early on that like explains why Sage loses, which is a setup for Sage. Like it's his second confessional of the season. He explains why Sage says exactly what's on her mind, which is fun and entertaining, but also not a particularly great quality for this game. And then he also like I'm pretty sure he does like hype Savannah up at some point.
yeah. I
Which
think it is just like he is charismatic and likable and should be good, but the story is just not there.
Yeah.
I mean, even more than a lot of people have been saying, I think it's a testament to how charismatic and likable he is naturally that he's this high, because
like
it is.
like
I'll say, like, I mean, I still have yet to talk about a character I actually like. I would
like
say is like over a 5 out of 10. We have yet to talk about anybody I would have above that.
Yeah,
like
I've got him.
he
I've got him in my neutral tier, but pretty high up in my neutral tier, right by Desi from 35. So by
Yeah.
let's not get into my designate, but yeah,
I've
I have him at the top
round
of
him
my 5 out
halfway.
of 10.
Yeah, I have him like a high 4 out of 10 where I see the vision, I like the casting. Honestly, I mean, I've always said returnee seasons should be people who didn't really get the chance to pan out because of circumstance on their first season.
yeah,
So I would very much be fine with him seeing, Nate 2.0, even though it's obviously never going to happen.
yeah, put him
But
on.
I would be very okay with it.
Yeah,
And
that'd be
then,
great.
I like him as a guy, but I think as an actual character with a story, he isn't one in 49.
Which
Yeah, I
sucks.
think
You know?
even being higher on my 5 feels a little generous, but I do really like the scene where like he and he and MC are like on like the journey or whatever, and I barely remember what was happening there game wise because who cares? But like he's like asking for like. And he's like trying to make fun conversation, but then just overdoes it. And it's becoming annoying because they're both trying to like run and carry stuff or whatever. That was fun.
And then he says like fuck the advantage. He tells MC don't go after the advantage, and I think in the context of how we view the show, less advantages is good.
Yeah,
That is also like it is always nice to see a new era person be like, yeah, fuck it, I don't need an advantage.
yeah,
I like that Eva did that on 48. I mean, the scene sucked. Like, why'd you even air it? But it was funny that
yeah.
they had the journey that she goes on, and she's like, "Oh, I'll just keep my vote and not do anything."
Yeah. Yeah, Nate's a good casting choice that they didn't make the most of, which we've said about a number of people, but it feels very true here.
Yeah, I think he might be the. Maybe it's Sophie B, but I think he's one of the biggest examples of a good casting choice that they really didn't make the most out of.
He's a very classic merge boot since Perma Fiji.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like the
they
Fiji
either
new era merge boots don't get to be all that much.
like they're either universally hated, Rome,
Yeah,
or
Rome or Chris Noble, yeah.
or like or they're like they're the black person in a split tribal,
Yeah.
or they're idol dodging.
Yeah.
Like,
Man, they really vote Chris Noble's ass out, and he has an idol, and he doesn't have a vote, and he gets voted out unanimously, and he has the idol for 2 tribals, and he doesn't play it. That's insane. Like, come on, dude. Dom's fucking yelling your name from the voting booth.
If we've reached the level of a Ghost Island discourse, do we think we got any more on Nate?
Yeah,
Moore?
this
No.
season is so bad that I'm talking positively about Ghost Island.
well, we're talking about the one
And
or
guess
two
what?
good
Yo,
things about Ghost
yo,
Island.
Guess
and also,
what? Guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? Guys, guess what?
Annie?
Jeremiah made the top 4.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
I have to
Seemed like a nice guy.
very, very quickly before Jeremiah. I have to point out to what Kyle said about season so bad. I'm talking about Ghost Island positively. I just did the same thing by praising Laurel compared to the.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyways, sorry, I wanted to say that real quick. But anyways, Jeremiah's number 4. Let's go.
I think we need to start by saying where we rank these people for audio listeners.
I have him 3rd. He's my 3rd favorite on the season, which is
7.
still I only like my top 2. I still think he's like whatever.
I have him 7.
I have him 12 because I think he's fine, but he's completely irrelevant, and like I think I like the people in the season more than everyone else here, so that does play into it, because I think Jeremiah is like what I described Nicole as like the mediocrity line. This is where Kyle has the mediocrity line.
Yeah, Jeremiah is the mediocrity line for me, which again 3rd. No, it's more like a mediocrity chunk of like Jeremiah, Annie, and Nate, or not Nate, Annie and Matt. Those 3.
Oh, we haven't seen Annie yet either.
Annie is in the top 3. I'm assuming 3rd.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, that's a character so good that we're talking about other characters already, but no, and he's number 4.
I think that he would be good if. Because here's such a layup. When you have a disaster tribe, you make the last person who goes out really well liked. You know, that's such a layup. I don't know why they didn't do that with him, but I still think he's fine.
Yeah, I do like Jeremiah because he causes the only reference that I've seen on Survivor to my favorite sports team.
Oh, nice. What team?
Yeah, so Jake, because Jake and Jeremiah are both Canadian, so Jake just asks him, and Jeremiah's from Ontario, so Jake asks him if he's a Leafs fan. Boo, Leafs. They suck right now. But,
I mean,
which is a whole different story. But like Jeremiah gets like a lot of content in the premiere where he talks about how he feels about Annie, or how he feels about gay couples, or like what gay couples usually look like. And that's he's seeing Jake and him as like a gay like a stereotypical gay couple.
Which is funny.
It's solid. It's solid. He disappears for his 2nd episode, and in his 3rd episode, it's a lot of will he, won't he, Alex play the idol, da da da.
Yeah, his the episode 3 he is not very good. I think so much of it is taken up by the Jake shit that they don't really have, and they have plenty of time because there's 3 fucking people left on the tribe. And it's 90 minutes, but it is frustrating. How much it's just like.
His other main character trait is he loves astrology, which
I do think it's hilarious. I thought that was hilarious to have. He was like the first Virgo man winner or something.
No. Let me explain this one, because no, you're both wrong, because I remember fucking this up when I wrote the PowerPoint for the preview episode, because I thought he said the first male tourist, like travel the world tourist, to win, because if you look at Jeremiah's Instagram, it's all just photos of himself around the world. So I thought he was like, I'm the first male tourist. So I thought, but he said first male tourist.
Oh, that's funny.
So I do. And then I realized that before you guys recorded, but like I fell asleep, so I didn't say anything. And I was like, "Well, that was a mistake," but whatever. It's funny.
As someone who's not a big astrology person, it is funny to me that like he also tries to use astrology as his reason to keep him and then gets voted out. Like I'm here for that. Like I like that it didn't work out. That's just funny to me. He's a charismatic narrator, good casting choice, and just doesn't get much of a story.
I think
Like a
he
lot
has
of these.
like he has
I
an
like
interaction with Nicole where he's like,
Yeah, I like his
like-
evil laugh.
mhm.
I like his evil laugh. I like how him and Sophie B play off each other.
Yeah,
It's enough to get 5th on the season.
I would like.
Imagine
Yeah.
I wish we got more of him and Nicole. I mean, like not like she went out first, so that can't happen. I just mean I wish like if there's an alternate universe where like Jeremiah and Nicole kind of like run this season, I bet I'd like that season more. I don't know. I bet that'd be interesting if we got more conversations about being queer with them. Although now that I think about it, 2 of the final 3 here had a big conversation about queer stuff, and it wasn't shown, so maybe that would be better.
Uh-huh.
But in theory,
Well, I guess the alternate universe that's more likely is Alex goes home instead of Jeremiah.
yeah.
And you have Jeremiah and Sophie in the merge, hopefully, and that might go somewhere.
I'm just looking at the slide, and I just want to. We already acknowledged it, but I just want to verbally appreciate. I think it's really funny that Jeremiah reached number 4 in a cast. I don't know. We got this dude number 4. It's kind of wild.
And we're not even like.
What's this guy doing up here at number 4? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, even we're kind of like he's 4th.
Yeah, like no one except Kyle has him up here. Really, it's like
Oh, that's true.
I think it is like
I
how
have him 3rd and Mike has him 5th. I feel like that's basically
yeah,
equally
fair
up
point.
there.
I think a lot of it is we're not that in agreement with the order of this cast, which does elevate weird averages. Like his average is 6.8 and he's 4.
And the next average is 1.8.
Oh gosh.
What? Annie's at 1.8?
I don't think that
no,
makes
no, no,
sense.
no, no, no. I meant I for a second I was like, oh, he's at number 3. No, 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 no.
Okay. I was like, wait, that doesn't seem like how math works. All right, cool. Do we got any more on Jeremiah before we move on to our illustrious next average?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think we're done.
All right. Next up, yeah, it's Trashy Annie.
I think it's cool to put an old lady rock star on the show. Those are all of my thoughts on Annie. I have a 4th of the cast.
She's a fun second boot. She does what she needs to. She's bang average. Like she does exactly what you need the second boot to do. Like I'd love if she went further. I think she'd be super fun. But what do you expect from Annie on a disaster tribe? If she was on Hina or something and made it further, I think she could be much more interesting.
Yeah.
But odds are on a season, especially in the new era, someone who's clearly not a strategy nerd. Like if you listen to anything she said in the pregame, it's like this is someone who watches the show every Wednesday but does not get involved further than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all had super high hopes for Annie, but this is what was the most likely scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, what you said about her fandom, it's kind of like what I was saying that I hoped Matt would be, someone who's not like plugged into like, I'm going to make big moves for my resume. I don't feel like we would have gotten that from her. So it would have been cool to see her last longer, but it's not surprising that Annie went out second. Like that's what you'd expect.
Yeah, like she ended up like building the shelter instead of socializing, which is like, it feels like a thing that you would have seen in like I don't know, like the late 20s where you were getting this mix of super recruit and hardcore super fan.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a Kagayan or Worlds Apart or Sandwindle Surfing. Instead of nothing, which would be more of a new era Survivor 49 type of scene.
Yeah.
I like that her boot episode. She has the first confessional, and it's like, we killed it. I don't remember the thing verbatim, but it's something to the effect of like, I love going to Tribe. I'm excited to go again. I can't wait to go like vote somebody else out, and she gets voted out. That's just fun storytelling. Simple, nothing crazy, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Trashy Annie is a good role player. And her live
Again,
set of
over
Bryce
the
and
season,
Wendell
she is not the 3rd best character on the cast. But...
Unfortunately, she's not the best player with her birth name.
That is true. Yeah. Fun fact: not her real name. Her birth name is Kim Mullen. So
That's not like something that's like literally on her Wikipedia page. She's the only person on this season with a Wikipedia page.
I guess I can say I've met both Survivor players named Kim Mullen.
I didn't know his name was great. I'm trying to remind myself of there was something with Annie that I really liked, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I got something.
her hair.
There was something in her boot episode. Oh, I liked that. Yeah. Okay. Like, they focused a lot in the early episodes on the Blue Tribe about like the brain fog, the depletion from like being hungry and everything. And I kind of liked that. And I remember that kind of motivated Annie, like the like were depleted, and so she had brain fog, and that kind of pushed her to want to like target Sophie instead. I think to like keep the tribe strong or something. But like they set up the emotion of the brain fog really well, and it motivated Annie's decision to flip. And like she described it really emotionally. Like, this isn't the vote I wanted to make. This vote hurts me. It's a hard decision, but I'm going to try to make it. And then they immediately cut to the people that she's like pitching to, being like, "We're not doing that. We're voting Annie off." I don't know. I thought that was a good I thought that was a good bait and switch. I thought that was funny in its presentation. I'm sorry I kind of rambled through the description because I was trying to recall it in real time, but just like they set up basically like emotional content.
Fuck.
Shit, I thought we were out of the woods.
Oh.
Man, I am so tired. I'm trying to push through to get to the couple. I always forget how late these always go.
All right.
Yeah, no, we can breeze through it.
Can we move on to this top two?
I'll just close out kind of what I was saying before it glitched on bottom. But yeah, I think that scene. I thought there was a really good Annie scene where they like emotionally set up her decision to flip and then undercut it with people like ripping on how they were going to boot her. And I thought that was well done. But that's all I got.
All right, so
finally talk about
the
something
obvious
good.
top two. The obvious top two, the two like really good characters on this season, and at number two,
really good.
The one who didn't make it to the finale.
I totally thought she was going to be number one. I'm actually really surprised by this. Oh wow!
Jesus got high off of God, man.
Wow, I'm really
funny. Great pre-merge villain. My main thing is that the reason she's not number one is too much of her story is tied to Sage, who I did not like. So it's just kind of.
I think like she has a clear build-up. She starts off as vibes, spiritual connection. She gets the whole I'm sure she's the only person that's ever referenced. I think she's the only one who's mentioned Stevie Nicks, or Boston Donnie Wahlberg or whatever.
Boston Donnie Wahlberg for sure. Stevie Nicks maybe not.
And she's like the whole breathwork thing, and like she gets that for about 3 episodes. Then she gets this Sage, trust me, she's my soul sister. And then it's like, and then the swap happens.
Yeah, and the swap happens, and all of a sudden she's like the main villain of the show, which is great. She's great at being like a pre-merge antagonist, like how they ever set up to be. I think that all that stuff is terrific.
Yeah, I loved Shannon. I got her number one for the cast, which I wish I could articulate a little better. It's just a little hard to at this point in the conversation. But I really thought that like the depiction of religion and spirituality through her was interesting. If I look at a lot of my favorite new era characters, like I'm actually literally looking at my list, like Teeny, Deshawn, like Shan, Jess, Eva, it's often someone where like in a meaningful way that ties in with the social dynamics, something really unique sociologically or psychologically is like being presented. And I thought that we got that from Shannon in terms of like religion and spirituality in a way that like at times was kind of like worked as a dark cutthroat antagonist, and also was just like funny. Like saying Jesus got high off of God is an absolutely incredible sentence. That's one of the best things anyone's ever said on the show.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's so funny how she like will reflect on this experience. I don't want to get too much onto how Shannon is off the show, but it does tie into her Survivor character in a very funny way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people saying her off-show stuff made them like her less. Her off-show stuff made me like her more.
Yeah,
To be
definitely.
honest.
Yeah, if I were gonna
In
have
a way, in a certain context.
Oh yeah, it made her more effective.
Yeah.
In as much as I would factor into my evaluation of her as a character, the evaluation would be positive. Like it would, it works with her antagonist role. But
Yeah, exactly. It's
I also,
not.
I don't even factor that in anyway. I'm just going off the episodes, and on the episodes, I thought she was great. I also want to say that just like I genuinely think that if you took every sentence that a human being has ever said on the show, her saying I was conceptualizing light and vision in the womb is one of the wildest things that I've ever heard a human being say on this show.
Yeah, it is unreal.
Oh yeah.
I cannot believe a human being said that. Like that's Survivor to me. Just get someone who's gonna say something that no one else is gonna say. Like that's peak Survivor to me right there.
Even the part that's goats get high off of hay is like, who says that?
Gosh, she's such a fantastic casting choice. Like amazing casting. I loved what she brought to the show. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate that she didn't get a better cast in a longer time to stick around for.
Yeah, and as someone who ranked Sage last by far, like I did like Sage when she was operating in conjunction with Shannon, and so I liked those parts of Shannon's story, like the whole like authenticity versus artifice kind of thing. I thought that juxtaposition worked really well. I know there was more. I honestly should rewatch Shannon's boot episode because I know that there was good stuff that would help justify ranking her this high and actually like invoke some like passion about good aspects of this season. I'm just blanking on specifics because it's been a bit and I didn't rewatch it, but there was her boot episode was really good. At least the parts of it related to her work.
She starts talking about lucky girl syndrome. She's so lucky.
Yeah.
She's like she's so like you know how like a good Survivor player is like can hide their threat level. Well, Shannon is so blatantly transparent about doing good things, and like everyone sees right through it. It's like the best we get from Steven. It's the best we get from
everyone.
Christina.
From Jawan.
Christina, Jawan, yeah.
Yeah. You help remind me here. One thing you help remind me of is you mentioned the thing about luck, and I really liked that because like I am very here for like okay, if anybody who was like an antagonist mentioned in their boot episode, oh I'm so lucky, and then they like go out and there's a swap and stuff, like it'd be like, oh funny, antagonist was had misplaced confidence. But with Shannon specifically, like luck is kind of more of like a spiritual concept that with her being the like very spiritual religious one, having her attribute her success to like luck and therefore something maybe like divinely oriented in her favor, and then she goes out, that is the kind of thing that puts her like way up the top of my new era character list. On a related note, a character I could draw a comparison to, who we're certainly not going to spend time talking about because God knows it would take up a conversation, but I'm a massive, massive, massive fan of Banu, and like there's something similar to Shannon in terms of like, oh, like very much having this devout belief and I'm the one who's lucky and then going home,
And also,
yeah, the key difference is that Shannon's scenes are watchable.
Her exit is also like perfect because she's like, "Damn guys, that's totally okay. Hugs, 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 no stress. Thank you guys. This was so fun. Bless, 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 bless. Thank you guys. What a time. Nothing but gratefuls." Like, and then
she's keeping up the whole like phony kindness thing. It is very funny. And normally that type of thing would annoy me quite a bit, but
like in real life, I could see it irritating the shit out of me. But
I mean, like as a viewer, though, normally when someone's like, "Awesome blindside, guys," but with her, it reads really like
she doesn't say blindside. She doesn't say great move. She's like, it's like hugs, 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 blessed, blessed, blessed.
And it's the thing that she got voted out for too, like the fakeness kind of.
It's the same. She uses Shannon terminology. She doesn't use generic Survivor terminology.
Yeah, she feels like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
and so does one other person on this cast. If we're going to move on,
I think I'm sure we could say a lot about Shannon, but I think it can be boiled down to the main points we have.
Yeah, there's a lot more religious stuff that could be unpacked in the boot episode, all of which I think is really good. Great character, big fan. Shannon, to me, is just the giant light and saving grace of this season. Absolutely love what she brought to the show. No complaints.
Yeah.
And number one, to nobody's surprise,
I was
Savannah.
I was so surprised by this. I thought Shannon was taking it like unanimously. Savannah's good too, though.
Yeah. I think Savannah is also a breath of fresh air casting wise.
Yeah.
She
I
was
don't
the
want to
only
call
one
her
out.
mean because I don't think she seems like a mean person, but I think it's nice to have somebody who is willing to be mean in a real way rather than like confessional catty Courtney Yates type of mean, like a way that there's
Courtney Yates
camp
was
setting.
more than that. Courtney Yates is mean in real life.
There's
like
yeah.
I
And,
mean
like-
no, I mean like the way she's
Yeah.
referred to as, you know.
Yeah.
with with
Not
Sophie,
Janelle Courtney, she's incredible.
with like Yellow Sophie on this season, I mentioned how in her narration there's kind of like a tenacity and competitive vibe that I wish came through in her actual story more. With Savannah, that like came through more. Like we got to actually see her be like, tenacious and competitive in her interactions with other people directly, which is refreshing, especially kind of in like, the era that we're in of the show now, somewhat.
Yeah.
She got something like the edit, or at least closer to the edit that I wish like D got in 45. Like she's kind of what I wish D had been, or at least closer to it.
I would agree with that. I think
Mhm.
that Savannah felt like a confident, like on top of things alpha female. And I think that they tell you that D is like that. And she more or less comes across like that, but sometimes not really. I think Savannah always comes across like that. Exactly.
Yeah, we don't get a scene where like D asks somebody who they're voting for, and that person gives a confessional about how it rubbed them the wrong way. We don't get like a narrative built around that thing.
Yeah, like people don't talk about being scared of D. Savannah didn't talk about being scared of her.
Yeah, it's like, and then
I
she's pissed at Jawan from day one. Like that's something that kind of fizzles. Like I wish that was a bigger part of the Jawan boot, but that's more of a Jawan issue than a Savannah issue.
Yeah,
I,
it's something I think is,
Savannah,
And I think
Savannah
it does line up in making Jawan just flip on them. Like I don't think it was she hides herself that well when she dislikes Jawan.
Yeah.
yeah, I think we got a lot of consecutive winners that I seemed, to me at least, to be very like whitewashed and flat, and like the primary goal of them as a character was to be like, oh yeah, they played really well, they deserve to win. And I didn't think we'd get a winner like Savannah ever again, and I'm really glad we did.
Yeah,
I'm
like
really glad that she was on the show. I'm really glad she won the show. I'm really excited to see her again. I think she
was bones and all.
super refreshing.
She was like pretty much the only thing that got me through the post merge.
Yeah, I don't think I would have finished the season if she wasn't there.
Her backstory segment was awesome too, and the way that they interwove that with like the mean girl kind of theme that portion of the season had, that was all great. Like everything.
Yeah.
Again, even though there's parts of Sage that make her just not an enjoyable character to me, the Sage Savannah stuff, like I liked that when we got it. Like the whole back and forth between them about which one was being the mean girl ostracizing the other. I thought that whole scene, especially like the scene where we got Savannah's backstory, it was really well constructed in terms of the back and forth of like who's wrong. I loved the way they did that.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was great.
She called Alex really fucking annoying.
She did. She was always hating on people I didn't like either. It was great. She didn't like Sage. She didn't like Jawan. She didn't like Alex. She didn't like anybody. But now that
she liked Rizzo.
She liked the Riz God, which was hilarious.
In post game shit, she called him her annoying little brother.
That's exactly how I felt about him as a character. I think I literally did describe him as that.
Yeah,
today, actually.
Yeah, like I said before, I don't really vibe with the decision to bring Rizzo back immediately for an anniversarial season, like even factoring in that they're going to bring someone back from the newest season. But Savannah, with the context that they're going to bring someone back from the newest season, like I think she's the kind of person that you want to have on the season before your returning player season. Like
I feel like if you're bringing back a man who's down to 40,
well,
is it going to be?
Yeah, when all is said and done, when I think about season 49, The
Yeah, I
thing
think
of
she's gonna be the first name I think of.
it's
Yeah.
just like
Mhm.
49 is going to be the Savannah season,
Yeah.
She's
and
the character.
they just
Mhm.
gave us Savannah.
Yeah.
Everyone. I think
I
honestly
mean,
the
there's
fact that it was so widely spoiled just
Mhm.
gave the editors the permission to be like, okay, everyone knows that this woman is our winner. Let's just make it obvious from episode 1, but in a way where it's like, okay, here's
yeah.
just
I think
this is Savannah. Here she is.
there
Yeah.
is something to be said with the fact that you could say that it's a flaw that she gets that type of edit because like her build up as like her and Rizzo's as well as like Survivor 50 returnee kind of comes at the expense of everybody else. But I mean, to be honest,
I'd rather
Rizzo
see
I'm less
those
okay
two.
with it. Savannah I'm fine with her getting more at the expense of everybody
Yeah.
else. She's that good.
Because
I didn't really
She's
care.
the
and also that's because like it's her season.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Mhm.
you're doing returning players on season 50, this is like exactly who you hope wins season 49. Like this is what
Yeah.
you hope for as a TV producer.
Yeah.
But
I
she
will
did
say
get
with the
she
Rizzo
did get a
return, Tipara, who would be the male 49 returnee if not Rizzo? That's the one thing there. Like who is it going to be?
Jason.
Jawan.
Nate, yeah, Jawan would be the one I
Yeah.
think if not Rizzo.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Jawan or something. I mean,
But you're
or
not putting
Jason.
Jawan on 50. Like come
I
on.
I
mean,
mean, they put Tiffany on
Jawan
50.
is a more
Tiffany on 50.
Jawan is like as relevant as Tiffany is.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I agree with all the positives about Savannah. She's pretty good, and looking at my overall ranking, very uncontroversially, I have this strong winning character between Jacob Derwin and then one spot above Gabler. So that's the
Just for just
Better than
Who do I
that.
have one
Hey,
spot above
I have
Gabler?
I have her actually super duper high.
I have
Um
Chelsea Meisner one
I don't
spot above Gabler.
I
Um,
don't care that I don't care that Savannah didn't technically have a excellent supporting cast. She made them all better, and I really liked watching her every single week. I have her very high in my overall rankings. I have her one above Sesternino on Amazon and one below BB.
that's I
that's
think nuts.
Um,
I have her. If we're sharing, I have her between Sydney 41 and Troyzan, but that's like I like 310 somewhere around there.
probably
I
Good,
for
certified good. I just think that
mhm.
there's a lot of new era problems that I have with every new era character, and
and part
it's
of
almost not even
I
working out.
think to talk about new era, I think Savannah gets very little of the new era issue. She doesn't go on a journey. She doesn't find an idol.
She just does get a lot of like filler confessionals about like doing
yes,
strategy,
I
and
think
the cast is a lot weaker, but
sure.
it is like
I do agree. I wasn't gonna say it because like I'll close it out on a positive note, but I do agree
yeah,
that
I
like
was
moves her. She's still good for me. Like she's still like a I don't know whatever 7 point something.
solidly good. Yeah, absolutely
But
good character.
what does move her
Mhm.
down for me to where I thought she'd be in the early post merge is that in the back end she does kind of blend into generic strategy. I want to win Survivor, like, and that lowers her for me while still definitely liking her.
No, I think towards the end, a lot of her like the fact that she clearly wants does she know Christina's an easy she sells Christina as fire, but she clearly wants her three alliance to go to the end. She's like loyal to the ground or whatever. Like I think
Yeah.
there is a bunch of stuff there that shows who she really is. And like it's not necessarily just I want to win, I'm gonna bring the goats to the end that some other people have. And
Yeah.
that's what Sophie B ends up wanting to do.
And also, as far as I want to win, I did really like when Jeff was like,
Yeah.
he asked her about how she felt about tying the immunity record, and she's like, "Ask me after the game. Right now, I'm more focused on winning. I don't care."
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
I
gonna
thought
say,
that was great.
yeah,
I think
through moments like that, even her strategic content near the end has this tapestry of like, I'm the competitive one that you don't get with like, Steven or
Indeed.
Sophie S or something. It's not like she's
Yeah.
not like just strategy girl who does strategy. She's like strategy girl who does in the back end specifically. She's strategy girl who does strategy because she's competitive and wants to win. So even
Yeah.
her least good content has a personal flair over it.
Yeah, it's contextualized in a way that makes it work better than it normally would with other people. I
I
think
think
she's
I think how I see it
Pretty
is like
consistently delivering.
it's different than Genevieve's because Genevieve's stuff is very emotion driven. Like I want to be the robot, but I can't be the robot kind of thing, and I have her in a very similar spot as Genevieve. Like that's the best new era comparison I can give in terms of
Yeah.
it's strategic with a clear second layer to it.
That makes sense. Yeah, Genevieve is a good comparison. Genevieve and like D of 45 kind of had more willingness to.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
but D doesn't have
she's better than both.
D doesn't have that second layer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mostly mentioned where she was on my ranking because I think it's funny that she happened to end up exactly one spot above Gabe, where when the receptions of them are very different in every community.
If we cut out old, if we only talking about new era, she's in between Genevieve and Kenzie for me.
Yeah,
which I
on
think
my
is funny to this audience.
Yeah, it makes sense. I look forward to seeing more Kenzie, but I won't derail too hard. Yeah, new era wise, I don't want to derail too hard, but I'll just drop because this is such a baffling ranking. I've got Genevieve one spot below Jackson Fox, but that's neither here nor there for Savannah purposes. Savannah's good.
Yeah. And that about does it. So, just a quick what comes next for Survivor.
Actually, Mike, can we I think we should talk about where we have this season overall and rankings
sure.
wise.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
might as well.
Yeah, if we want to talk
Summer.
about where we have this season overall, I don't think this will be a surprise to anyone. Extremely low for me. I have it below Island of the Idols, which is not one of my favorites.
Like I have it around 35 or so.
I would agree with that. I think me and Mike have some of the more prominent characters higher, like a
Yeah.
Jake or a Sophie B or whatever, than Kyle or Tipara do.
Mhm.
So I have 49 at 33, which about lines up with some of the other seasons around there, like Cambodia or Millennials vs. Gen X. There's major flaws with it, but the main character's still main character in a good way.
Yeah.
So there's 46 American seasons that I got ranked because I want to rewatch 42 before I rank it, and I haven't finished 39 and 46. But out of the 46 ones that I have ranked, I have it number 41. In other words, I've only got it above 5 other things, and I'm very confident that when I finish them, 42, Island of the Idols, and 46 are all going to be better than it for me. I've only got it above 44, Samoa, season 34, All Stars, Caramel, and Redemption Island. It's really, really low
I
down
like
the
that
list.
you can't even bring yourself to call that bullshit Game Changers.
I will never call it that. I had to pause for that. I will never call it that. On my season ranking spreadsheet I'm looking at, I have the season title in quotation marks. Just out of
It has a subtitle. You can call it that.
I
Yeah,
know,
you can't call it Mamanouche Islands. That's true.
but it's more of a dig to call it Game Changers in quotation marks. But yeah,
Yeah, I also had it 41 out of 46 with 3 seasons I plan on rewatching in Gabon, San Juan del Sur, and Samoa, and I mean, only one of them I would even think could maybe be below it, but Samoa, obviously. But even then, I don't think it will be.
And I'm not a big new era hater. I like 41. I'm not gonna list them all, but I like most of them, and I'm higher on 43 than a lot of people. The only two that I'm really I do not like are this one and 44. So I vibe with a lot of new era. The only two where I'm no are this one and 44, which are really similar seasons in their flaws.
I also don't totally hate the new era as much as I absolutely have my strong issues with it. 49 is better than 44 and 43 for new era. That's about it.
I think it's also better than 48, but I do need to rewatch that because I think I have issues with 48 that are different than other people's, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So it's fourth worst. It's there's, but it's not close to the 5 I have above it. It's way closer to those below it than it is to those above it, let's say. Okay, so I guess we've done that. So I see the 50 preview.
Yeah, I think what's next for us?
Mr. Beast.
We're working on
Mr. Beast.
We might do more 50 coverage. We're working on doing another Jeopardy. We are working on a Thailand podcast, but it's hard to get the people together, especially around this time of year. Dating the show. This was recorded a bit before Christmas.
It was
But
recorded
oops.
near the finale of Survivor 49, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone will be surprised to hear this was recorded around the time Survivor 49 ended.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, we're working on stuff. We're still going. We're doing a Thailand retrospective, which will be, I think, maybe a little more positive than people would expect it to be. So stay tuned for
Oh,
the
that's
comparing
gonna.
in Thailand's takes.
Oof.
But also we're specifically planning on having people who do and don't like the season, so that there will be like a real discussion there rather than, a lot of
Brian
people
Heidick's
talking.
the worst person ever.
Brian Heidick's the best person ever.
I think he might have done a couple things that aren't great. Maybe.
Who among us? Who among us hasn't shot a dog by accident for the first time?
Okay, this does not
Allegedly.
need to.
But
we can talk about Jenna Lewis instead, because
but
she said things about guns too.
Let Jenna Lewis win Survivor 50. Colby comes in second, and then
Col-
Mr. Beast comes in third, and Rizgat is fourth again. That's what
they
I'm
should.
hoping
You know
for.
what you know who they should bring back as one of the celebrities is you know who they got to bring back as a celebrity, in my opinion. Jason from Survivor 49. I think that'd be awesome.
I'd like to see Cochran. I think he could give really good advice to the fans on a boat, maybe.
Which new era contestant is going to be the Cochrane vote on Survivor 50?
Andy.
I was thinking Andy, but then I was like, oh, since they cut him, maybe not. But my first thought was Andy otherwise.
Yeah.
He's such a Cochran boat type of guy.
That
all
person
I'll
has
say,
to win though.
of these like actual confessionals people got in the preview for 50, you're obviously gonna get Jenna, Borneo, Colby, Outback, Serene, Mike White, and then Q.
Actually famous.
And Coach.
And Coach. And of
Yeah.
course Camilla. You need the Camilla confessional.
Yeah, I forgot Camilla got one.
I thought you were mentioning them all specifically, like building up that you were gonna dunk on Camilla. Like I thought it was gonna be and Camilla.
No,
But
I was going to be like, and they gave one to Q too.
And I will say, just for the record, that I'm probably the biggest or close to the biggest Camilla fan in this Discord. I actually really like her a lot, and I'm glad to see her again. But yeah.
You can admit that she is one of the less popular choices on 50.
Oh yeah, sure. But I like her. But yeah, that's I don't know. Do we got more looking forward stuff, or do we think we're I don't know. Do we got any more to say?
I mean, feel free to comment anything you think that would be interesting to talk about. We were talking about working on an iceberg for Survivor Conspiracy Theories video. I'd still be interested in doing that.
Yeah.
Any recommendations? We're not a huge show, so if anyone has any recommendations, we will see them and we might do them. We think it's a good idea.
Absolutely. And thank you guys all for listening. This actually came out to be 3.5 hours, which is the shortest.
Yeah, Mike's delusional. He said I'll be their host for the next hour or two.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's been a great night. Hope you guys actually stuck all the way through, and good night.
Good night.
Can I say one quick positive thing for the heck of it, or no? Real quick.
Go
positive.
for it.
Sure.
Yeah, just like I know we gave the season a lot of criticism, but for the 18 people who were there, it was a great experience for them, hopefully, or an interesting one they'll remember forever. So I'm glad they had a good time, and I'm glad we got to watch part of it, even if we didn't love the direction it took in terms
I
of
think
TV.
17 out of 18 of them had a good time.
Yeah, I just wanted to close it out with something positive after we criticized it so much.
I think it's possible Annie forgets she was on Survivor.
Kudos, you guys. All right.
Sorry.